Mark Sullivan stood frozen outside the cafe window, watching his daughter Mia inside, laughing with a woman in $1,000 coat, a woman he'd just learned owned half the city's skyline. His hands shook. Not from the cold, from the realization that for 3 months he'd led a billionaire into their small, broken world, thinking she was just lonely like them. Now his daughter was attached. Now his heart was involved. And now he had to decide, walk away before the gap between their lives crushed them, or trust that maybe, just maybe, she'd been honest about the only thing that mattered. If you're watching from anywhere in the world, stay with me until the end of this story. Hit that like button and drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this journey reaches. The cafe smelled like burnt coffee and discount cleaning solution. Mark Sullivan knew that smell the way some people knew expensive perfume. It was the scent of places he could almost afford, places where $5 mattered, where you counted change twice before ordering. He pushed open the door with his shoulder. Mia's small hand gripped tight in his. She was 6, all sharp elbows and wild curls that he never managed to brush right. Her winter coat was too small, had been since October, but new coats cost money he didn't have. "Can we get pancakes, Daddy?" "We'll see, baby." That meant no. They both knew it. But she smiled anyway, because that's what Mia did. She smiled when he forgot to pack her lunch. She smiled when the heat got shut off last winter. She smiled through every goddamn thing that made him hate himself a little more each day. The cafe wasn't crowded. Tuesday afternoon, the dead zone between lunch and dinner. A couple of college students hunched over laptops. An old man reading a newspaper like it was still 1987. And in the corner booth, near the window with the cracked pane, a woman sitting alone. Mark didn't notice her at first. He was too busy calculating whether he could afford 2 hot chocolates or just one they could share. But Mia noticed. Mia always noticed. "Daddy, why is that lady crying?" Mark's gaze snapped up. The woman wasn't sobbing or making a scene. She was just sitting there, perfectly still, with tears running down her face, like someone had turned on a faucet and walked away. She was... Mark searched for a word that didn't sound stupid in his head. Striking. That was the word. Not pretty like the girls he'd known in high school. Not attractive like the women who served him coffee while avoiding eye contact. Striking. Dark hair pulled back severe and perfect. A coat that probably cost more than his car. Hands folded on the table in front of her like she was praying, except her eyes were open, staring at nothing. "Daddy?" "Leave her alone, Mia. She's fine." "But she's sad. People get sad. That's life." He steered Mia toward a booth on the opposite side, but his daughter planted her feet. 38 pounds of pure stubbornness. "We should ask if she's okay." "Mia, you said we're supposed to be nice to people." Mark closed his eyes. Of course. Of course she'd throw his own parenting back at him. He'd been trying to teach her kindness in a world that kept proving kindness didn't pay rent. Sometimes people want to be alone when they're sad. "Did you want to be alone when Mommy left?" The question hit him like a fist. Mia's voice was innocent, genuinely curious, but it still knocked the air out of his lungs. "That's different." "You cried too, I remember." She shouldn't remember. She'd been 4 when Sarah walked out. 4 years old and already learning that people leave, that promises break, that love wasn't enough to keep someone from vanishing in the middle of the night with half their bank account and 0 explanation. Mark looked at the woman again. She still hadn't moved, just sitting there like a statue that someone forgot to program with an off switch. "Fine," he muttered, "but if she tells us to go away, we go away. Deal?" "Deal." They crossed the cafe. Mark felt ridiculous. A guy in a thrift store jacket, approaching a woman who looked like she'd stepped out of a magazine ad for things he'd never afford. But Mia was already tugging him forward, fearless in the way only children could be. "Excuse me," Mia said when they reached the booth. The woman didn't react. "Excuse me," Mia repeated, louder. This time the woman's eyes shifted, focused. She looked down at Mia, and for a second Mark saw something flicker across her face. Surprise, maybe. Or horror that her private breakdown was being interrupted by a random kid in a too small coat. "Hi," Mia said brightly. "I'm Mia. Are you okay?" The woman blinked, slowly, like she was coming back from somewhere far away. Her voice cracked. She cleared her throat, tried again. I'm fine. Thank you for asking. Her accent was subtle, but there, something expensive. East Coast money, private school vowels. You don't look fine, Mia said with the brutal honesty of childhood. You're crying. Mia, Mark said, mortified. That's not. But the woman almost smiled. Almost. A tiny crack in whatever mask she'd been wearing. You're right, she said. I'm not fine. Mia nodded like this was a perfectly reasonable answer. Do you want to sit with us? We're getting pancakes. Well, she glanced up at Mark. We're getting something. Daddy hasn't decided yet. Mark wanted to sink through the floor, die right there, evaporate into the smell of burnt coffee and never exist again. Mia, I'm sure this lady has. I'd like that, the woman said quietly. They both stared at her. I'd like to sit with you, she repeated, if that's okay. Mark opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Sure, yeah, of course. What the hell else was he supposed to say? Her name was Adriana. She didn't offer a last name, and Mark didn't ask. They slid into the booth, Mark and Mia on one side, Adriana on the other, and for a long moment nobody spoke. The silence stretched thin and awkward until Mia, bless her oblivious heart, started chattering about school. My teacher's name is Mrs. Patterson, and she has a cat named Mr. Whiskers, even though he doesn't have whiskers because they got burnt off in a fire. But he's okay now, and we read a book about frogs today. And did you know some frogs can be poisonous, but only if you lick them, so you shouldn't lick frogs? Mark had stopped trying to slow Mia's verbal avalanches years ago. You just had to ride them out. Adriana listened, really listened. Her eyes stayed on Mia's face like the kid was presenting a TED Talk instead of rambling about amphibian toxicity. A waitress appeared, 60-something, tired eyes, name tag that said Barb. She looked at their table with the particular exhaustion of someone who'd worked double shifts for 30 years. What can I get you? Mark's jaw tightened. This was the part he hated. The mental calculation. 2 hot chocolates or 1? Pancakes for Mia. Nothing for him. Act like he wasn't hungry. Hot chocolate, Mia said immediately. And pancakes. With chocolate chips. Just water for me, Mark said. You should eat, Adriana said suddenly. He looked at her. She was watching him with an expression he couldn't read. I'm good. I insist, please. Order whatever you'd like. It's on me. Every muscle in his body went rigid. No. The word came out harder than he meant it. Barb raised an eyebrow. Mia looked confused. I didn't mean to offend. I can pay for my daughter's food. I know you can. I'm just offering We're fine. The air went sharp and uncomfortable. Adriana pulled back slightly, hands retreating into her lap. Mark felt like an asshole but couldn't quite let go of the anger. He didn't need charity, didn't need some rich woman buying his kid pancakes like they were homeless. 1 hot chocolate, he told Barb. 1 pancake, regular, no chocolate chips. Mia's face fell, but she didn't argue. She'd learned that too, how to swallow disappointment quietly. And for you? Barb asked Adriana. Coffee? Black? And... Adriana paused. Bring the chocolate chip pancakes anyway. Please. I'll pay for them separately. Mark's spine went straight. I said, They're for me, Adriana interrupted smoothly. I'm hungry, but I can't finish a whole order by myself. So if there happen to be extras, well, that's just waste. Their eyes locked. Mark knew exactly what she was doing. And she knew he knew. The question was whether his pride was worth more than Mia's chocolate chips. He looked at his daughter. She was trying so hard not to hope, her little face carefully neutral. Fine, he muttered. Adriana's shoulders relaxed, just slightly. Barb wrote it down without comment and walked away. Thank you, Mark forced out. It tasted like swallowing glass. You're welcome. Mia, crisis averted, went back to chattering. Something about recess and a boy named Tyler who ate paste. Mark studied the woman across from him. Now that she wasn't crying, he could see her more clearly. Late 20s, maybe early 30s. Flawless makeup that probably cost more than his electric bill. Hands that had never washed dishes or changed oil or scrubbed floors at 2 a.m. So, he said, because the silence felt dangerous. Rough day? Adriana laughed. It was a hollow sound, brittle at the edges. You could say that. Want to talk about it? Not particularly. Fair enough. What about you? She asked. What brings you and Mia here on a Tuesday afternoon? Doctor's appointment, Mia announced. I got a shot. It hurt, but I didn't cry. That's very brave. Daddy says crying is okay, though. He says sometimes you just gotta let it out. Adriana's eyes flicked to Mark. Something shifted in her expression. Softer, maybe. Less guarded. Your dad sounds smart. He is, Mia said loyally. He knows everything. Mark snorted. I wouldn't go that far, kiddo. He fixed the sink last week all by himself. YouTube fixed the sink. I just followed instructions. And he makes really good grilled cheese. Literally the only thing I can cook without burning. Adriana almost smiled. A real one this time, not the ghost of politeness. Their food arrived. Barb set down plates without ceremony. Hot chocolate for Mia, water for Mark, black coffee for Adriana, and a stack of chocolate chip pancakes big enough to feed 4 people. I'll never finish these, Adriana said, pushing the plate toward the center. Help yourselves. Mia looked at Mark. He nodded. She grabbed her fork like it was Christmas morning. They ate in relative quiet. Mia demolished pancakes with the single-minded focus of a 6-year-old on a sugar mission. Mark picked at a piece she insisted on sharing, watching Adriana out of the corner of his eye. She barely touched her coffee, just wrapped her hands around the mug like she was cold, even though the cafe was overheated and stuffy. Can I ask you something? Mark said finally. Sure. Why were you crying? Adriana stared into her coffee. For a second he thought she wouldn't answer. I was supposed to meet someone, she said quietly. A blind date, set up by a friend who thought I needed to get out more. He stood me up. Asshole. Mark, Mia gasped. Sorry, but he is. Adriana's mouth twitched. You're not wrong. How long did you wait? An hour and a half. Jesus. I kept thinking maybe he was just late. Traffic or work or something. But then I got a text. He'd looked me up online. Decided I was too intimidating. She said it with air quotes, voice dripping sarcasm. So he just didn't show. That's bullshit, Mark said flatly. Sorry, Mia. I know, bad word, but it is. Mia nodded seriously. It's really bullshit, Daddy. Okay, let's not make that your new favorite word. Adriana laughed. A real laugh this time, surprised and genuine. I needed that, she said. Thank you. For what? For not treating me like I'm made of glass. For letting your daughter invite a crying stranger to sit with you. For... She gestured vaguely. This. Mia did all the work, Mark said. I was ready to ignore you completely. Daddy, Mia protested. What? It's true. You're the brave one. Mia beamed, chocolate smeared across her chin. They talked after that, small things, easy things. Adriana asked about Mia's school and Mark's work. He was vague, said he did maintenance and repair jobs. Didn't mention the 3 part-time gigs he juggled just to keep the lights on. She didn't pry. In turn, she told them she worked in business. Didn't elaborate. Didn't name her company or explain what she did. Just business, in the same way Mark said maintenance. An hour passed. Then another. Barb refilled their drinks without comment. The college students packed up and left. The old man with the newspaper wandered out into the gray afternoon. We should go, Mark said eventually. You've got homework, Mia. Ah, no whining. You had pancakes. Don't push your luck. They slid out of the booth. Adriana stood too, smoothing her coat with hands that trembled just slightly. Thank you, she said. Both of you. I mean it. Any time, Mia said cheerfully. We come here sometimes. Maybe we'll see you again. Maybe, Adriana said softly. Mark nodded, awkward, unsure what else to say. He grabbed Mia's hand and headed for the door. Mark. He turned. Adriana was still standing by the booth, something vulnerable in her eyes. Your daughter's lucky to have you. His throat tightened. He managed a rough, thanks, and got out before his voice could crack. Outside, the afternoon was cold and gray. Mia chattered the whole walk to their car, a 15-year-old Honda with a dent in the passenger door and a check engine light that had been on since July. Mark didn't say much. He was too busy trying not to think about the woman they'd left behind. The woman who'd cried alone in a cafe until his daughter noticed. The woman who'd bought them pancakes without making him feel small. He wouldn't see her again, that's what he told himself. She was from a different world. A world of designer coats and blind dates and problems he couldn't begin to understand. But as he buckled Mia into her booster seat and started the engine, he couldn't quite shake the image of Adriana's face, the way she'd looked when Mia asked if she was okay, like she'd been waiting years for someone to ask. Mamas. 3 days later, Mia dragged him back to the cafe. I want pancakes again, Daddy. We had pancakes Tuesday. But I want more pancakes. Mia, please, I'll be extra good. I'll clean my room and do all my homework, and I won't complain about broccoli for a whole week. That last part was a blatant lie, and they both knew it. But Mark was tired. His back hurt from crawling under Mrs. Chen's sink all morning, and he didn't have the energy to fight. Fine, 1 pancake. With chocolate chips? Don't push it. They went Friday afternoon. The cafe looked the same, still smelled like burnt coffee, still had the cracked window pane. But when they walked in, Mark's heart did something stupid in his chest. Adriana was there. Same corner booth, same perfect posture. But this time she wasn't crying. This time she was reading a book, coffee cup steaming beside her. Mia saw her immediately. Look, Daddy, it's Adriana. Before Mark could stop her, she was across the cafe, launching herself at the booth with zero social awareness. Hi, remember us? We had pancakes. Adriana looked up and smiled. A real smile. The kind that changed her whole face. Mia, of course I remember. We came back for more pancakes. Daddy said only 1, but maybe if you're still bad at finishing yours, we could help again. Mark caught up, mortified. Mia, you can't just… It's fine, Adriana said. Really, I was hoping I'd run into you both again. You were? Something flickered in her eyes. Loneliness, maybe. The same thing he saw in his own mirror some mornings. Would you like to sit? She asked. This time Mark didn't hesitate. Yeah, we would. It became a thing. Not every day, not even every week, but often enough that Barb stopped looking surprised when they walked in. Often enough that Mia started talking about our friend Adriana at school. Often enough that Mark stopped pretending it was just coincidence. They met on Tuesdays and Fridays when Mark's schedule allowed. Sometimes Adriana was already there when they arrived. Sometimes she showed up 10 minutes after them, looking windblown and apologetic. She never talked about work, never mentioned where she lived or what she did with her time. And Mark didn't push. He understood keeping things surface level. He did it himself. Never mentioned the eviction notice he'd fought off last month. Never explained why Mia's birthday party had been just the two of them and a grocery store cake. They existed in the cafe like it was its own separate world, a place where none of the outside stuff mattered. Adriana was good with Mia, patient when the kid rambled, listened to stories about school drama like it was crucial international news, helped with homework sometimes. She was scary good at math, the kind of good that made Mark wonder what the hell she actually did for a living. You should have been a teacher, he said one Friday, watching her explain long division with more clarity than any YouTube video he'd found. I don't have the temperament for it. You're doing fine right now. That's because Mia's wonderful. Not all children are. Fair point, Mia beamed, basking in the compliment. Weeks passed. October bled into November. The cafe put up half-hearted Thanksgiving decorations, paper turkeys and plastic leaves that looked like they'd been in storage since 1995. Mark started looking forward to those meetings more than he wanted to admit. Started thinking about things to tell Adriana, funny stories from his work, or things Mia had said. Started noticing details, the way she took her coffee, the fact that she always sat facing the door, the tiny scar on her left hand that she never explained. He also started noticing the looks Barb gave them, curious, a little knowing. One Friday she cornered him while Adriana and Mia were in the bathroom. So, Barb said, refilling his water. You two dating or what? Mark choked. What? No, we're friends. Uh-huh. I'm serious. We just have pancakes sometimes. Sure. Barb, I'm not judging. She seems nice, better than that last girl you brought in here. I never brought… He stopped. Wait, Sarah? The blonde. 3 years ago. She complained about everything and didn't tip. Mark winced. Yeah, that was Sarah. This one's better. We're not. But Barb was already walking away, smirking like she knew something he didn't. When Adriana and Mia came back, Mark couldn't quite meet Adriana's eyes. Dating, as if. As if a woman who wore $1,000 coats and spoke 3 languages, he'd learned that last week when she'd helped Mia with a Spanish worksheet, would look at a guy who sometimes showered at the gym because his water heater was broken. But later, walking Mia to the car, his daughter said something that made his stomach drop. I like Adriana, Daddy. Yeah, kiddo, she's nice. Do you think she could be my mom? Mark stopped walking. Mia, I know she's not my real mom, but maybe she could be like a mom. You know, someone who stays. His heart cracked open. Right there, in the parking lot of a strip mall cafe. Baby, he said carefully, Adriana's our friend. That's all. She's not going to... We're not... Why not? It's complicated. But you smile more when she's around. Did he? He hadn't noticed. And she smiles too. I think she's lonely, Daddy, like we used to be. Used to be. Past tense. Like the loneliness had stopped. Like something had changed without him noticing. We're still her friends no matter what, he said finally. Okay? But don't get ideas about other stuff. Sometimes people are just friends. Okay, Mia said quietly. But she didn't sound convinced. And honestly, neither was he. The shift happened so gradually, Mark didn't see it coming. Adriana started showing up to things. Not big things. Small things. A school play where Mia had 3 lines as a tree. A Saturday morning at the park where Mia fed ducks and Adriana laughed when one stole her scarf. A trip to the library where they all got cards and Mia checked out 7 books about dinosaurs. She fit. That was the terrifying part. She fit into their small, broken world like she'd always been there. And Mark, God help him, he was falling for her. Not in the stupid rom-com way, not love at first sight or destiny or any of that bullshit. But slowly, quietly, in the way she remembered Mia's favorite color, the way she never made him feel small for counting dollars before ordering, the way she looked at him sometimes like he was more than just a guy barely holding his life together. They were at the park, mid-November, cold enough that their breath fogged, when she asked about Sarah. You don't have to tell me, she said quickly. I'm just curious. Mia mentioned her mother once and then got very quiet. Mark pushed Mia on the swing, higher, higher, listening to his daughter shriek with joy. Not much to tell. We were young, got pregnant, tried to make it work. He paused, searching for words that didn't make him sound pathetic. She wasn't ready for this. Any of this. So she left. I'm sorry. Don't be. We're better off. Does Mia see her? No. Sarah sends a card on birthdays sometimes. That's it. Adriana was quiet for a long moment. She's missing out, she said finally. Mia's extraordinary. Yeah, she is. So are you. He looked at her. She was watching Mia, not him, but her voice had gone soft. Careful. I'm really not. You are. You don't see it, but you are. Something warm unfurled in his chest, dangerous and terrifying. Adriana. Higher, Daddy, Mia yelled. The moment broke. Mark pushed the swing. Adriana sat on the bench, hands wrapped around a cup of hot chocolate from the cart nearby. When Mia finally tired herself out, they walked back to the parking lot together. Adriana's car was parked next to his, a sleek black sedan that probably cost more than his annual income. Same time Tuesday? She asked. Yeah, if you're free. I'll make time. She always said that. I'll make time. Like they were a priority. Like 2 hours in a cafe with a struggling single dad and his hyperactive daughter mattered more than whatever else filled her life. Mia hugged Adriana goodbye, had started doing that a few weeks ago, just threw her arms around Adriana's waist without asking permission. Adriana always hugged back, gentle, like Mia was made of glass. See you Tuesday, Mia called. See you Tuesday, Adriana echoed. Mark watched her drive away, watched until the taillights disappeared around the corner. Daddy? Yeah, baby. I love her. His breath caught. I know. Do you love her? He should say no. Should shut this down before it became a problem, before Mia got hurt, before he got hurt. But he'd never been good at lying to his daughter. Yeah, he said quietly. I think I do. Mia smiled, the brightest smile he'd seen in months. And Mark tried very hard not to think about what would happen when Adriana inevitably figured out she'd made a mistake. When she realized she was wasting time on people who couldn't give her anything except cheap coffee and hand-me-down affection. Tuesday came. Then Friday. Then Tuesday again. November became December. The cafe put up Christmas lights that blinked erratically. Mia made Adriana a card at school, crayon drawing of 3 stick figures holding hands, labeled Me, Daddy, Adriana. Adriana kept it in her wallet. Mark knew because he saw it once when she paid for lunch. Saw the worn edges like she'd taken it out and looked at it more than once. They were walking a dangerous line. He knew it. She probably knew it too. But neither of them stepped back. Not yet. Not until the day everything fell apart. It was a Wednesday. Mark wasn't supposed to be at the cafe. Wednesdays were for his overnight security gig, the one that paid just enough to keep them above water. But the job had been canceled, pipe burst or something, and he decided to surprise Mia with hot chocolate after school. They walked in and Adriana was there. That wasn't the weird part. The weird part was the man sitting across from her, 50-something, expensive suit, talking in rapid-fire sentences while Adriana nodded, taking notes on a tablet Mark had never seen her use before. That's Adriana, Mia said, starting forward. Mark caught her hand. Wait. Something felt off. The way the man was talking, deferential but insistent. The way Adriana sat, posture perfect, face unreadable. This wasn't a friend. This was business. The man left. Adriana looked up and saw them. Her expression shifted. Surprise, then something that looked almost like panic. Mark, Mia, I didn't expect... Who was that? Mark asked. A colleague. You're working. Yes, I had a meeting. On a Wednesday afternoon. At a cafe. Adriana stood slowly. Can we talk? Outside? Mia looked confused. Mark felt something cold settle in his gut. Stay here, Mia. Order whatever you want. But, Mia, please. She heard the tone, sat down in a booth without arguing. Mark followed Adriana outside. The December air bit through his jacket. What's going on? He asked. Nothing's going on. Bullshit. You've never mentioned work meetings before, never brought your tablet, never... He gestured at her. You're different right now. I'm not... Who are you? The question came out harsher than he meant. Adriana flinched. What do you mean? I mean, we've been doing this for 2 months. 2 months of pancakes and homework and park visits, and I don't know anything about you. Not really. Where you live, what you do, why a woman who looks like you, dresses like you, talks like you, spends her time with us. I told you, but you told me you work in business. That's not an answer, Adriana. That's a deflection. She looked away. Does it matter? Yeah, it does, because my daughter's getting attached. Hell, I'm getting attached. And I need to know if this is real or if you're just, I don't know, slumming it with the poor people for kicks. That's not fair. Then tell me the truth. Silence. Long and heavy. I can't, she said finally. Can't or won't? Both. Mark laughed. It sounded bitter even to his own ears. Right, okay, cool. He turned to go back inside. Mark, wait. No, I'm done waiting. I'm done with half-truths and mystery woman bullshit. You want to be in our lives? Actually be in our lives. Otherwise, his voice cracked. Otherwise leave before Mia gets hurt. He didn't wait for an answer, just walked back into the cafe, grabbed Mia, who'd ordered the most expensive hot chocolate on the menu out of spite, he was sure, and left. Adriana stood in the parking lot, alone. Mia cried in the car. And Mark drove home trying not to think about the look on Adriana's face, like he'd just confirmed every fear she'd been carrying, like she'd expected this all along. Mark didn't sleep that night. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to the radiator clank and hiss, replaying the conversation over and over until the words lost meaning. The look on Adriana's face, the crack in her voice when she'd said, "I can't," the way Mia had cried in the car, asking why they couldn't see Adriana anymore, why Daddy was being mean. He wasn't being mean. He was being smart. Protecting them both from whatever the hell this situation was turning into. That's what he told himself. It didn't make him feel any better. By Thursday morning, Mia wasn't speaking to him. She ate her cereal in silence, shoulders hunched, radiating disappointment in a way only a 6-year-old could manage. When he dropped her off at school, she didn't say goodbye, just grabbed her backpack and walked away without looking back. Mark sat in the parking lot for 10 minutes after she disappeared inside, gripping the steering wheel until his knuckles went white. His phone rang. Mrs. Patterson, Mia's teacher. "Mr. Sullivan, do you have a moment?" His stomach dropped. "Is Mia okay?" "She's fine, physically, but she's been very withdrawn today. Didn't participate in circle time, hasn't spoken to any of the other children. I'm concerned." Mark closed his eyes. "I'll talk to her." "Is everything all right at home?" "Yeah, just some stuff going on. We'll work it out." Mrs. Patterson didn't sound convinced, but she let him go. He drove to his first job of the day, fixing a fence for a rental property 3 towns over, and tried to lose himself in physical work. Measure, cut, hammer. Simple. Concrete. Nothing like the mess inside his head. It didn't help. Around noon, his phone buzzed, a text from a number he didn't recognize. "Please let me explain." He stared at it. Didn't respond. Another message came through. "I know I have no right to ask, but I owe you the truth, both of you." His thumb hovered over the keyboard. He should block the number, delete the messages, move on. Instead, he typed, "Who is this?" The response was immediate. "Adriana." "Of course it was. How did you get my number?" I asked Barb. "You asked the waitress for my phone number?" I was desperate. Mark set the phone down, picked it up again, put it in his pocket, took it back out. Finally, "I don't want explanations. I want honesty." "I know, so be honest. Who are you?" The typing indicator appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, "Can we meet?" "Please. Just once. I'll tell you everything." "No." "Mark?" I said no. "Whatever this is, I'm done. Leave us alone." He turned off his phone, went back to hammering nails with more force than necessary, each strike punctuating the anger he didn't want to feel. Because anger was easier than the alternative. Easier than admitting he missed her. Easier than facing how much it hurt to walk away. When he picked Mia up from school, she climbed into the car and immediately asked, "Did you talk to Adriana?" "No." "Why not?" "Because I don't want to." "That's stupid. Mia, she's our friend and you're being mean and I don't understand why." "It's complicated." "You always say that when you don't want to explain things." She wasn't wrong. "Sometimes grown-up stuff is complicated," he said. "That's just how it is. I don't like it." "Yeah, well, join the club." They drove home in silence. Mia went straight to her room. Their apartment was small enough that her room meant a corner sectioned off with a curtain, but she treated it like a palace. Mark heard her talking to her stuffed animals, explaining the situation in a way that made him the villain. He made dinner, boxed mac and cheese because he was too tired for anything else. Called Mia when it was ready. She ate 3 bites and pushed the bowl away. "Not hungry." "You need to eat." "I'm not hungry because I'm sad." Mark's chest tightened. "Baby, you made Adriana go away, and now she's sad, and I'm sad, and you're sad even though you're pretending you're not." "I'm not pretending anything." "Yes, you are. You always get quiet when you're sad, like after Mommy left." The comparison hit him like a slap. "This is different." "How?" "Because," he struggled, "because your mom was family. Adriana's not." "She could be." "Mia, that's not how it works." "Why not?" "Because people don't just become family. It takes time and commitment and..." He was grasping now, trying to explain something he barely understood himself. "We barely know her. I know she's nice, and she makes you smile. And she helped me with my homework and bought us pancakes and came to my play even though I was just a tree." Every word was a knife. "I know all that," Mark said quietly. "But there are things you don't know, things I don't know." And until I do, you're scared. He blinked. What? You're scared she'll leave like Mommy did, so you're making her leave first. 6 years old, and she'd just summarized his entire psychology in 2 sentences. That's not... It is, Daddy. I'm not stupid. I never said you were stupid. Then stop treating me like I am. She slid off her chair and disappeared behind her curtain. Mark sat alone at their tiny kitchen table, staring at a bowl of mac and cheese going cold, wondering when his daughter had gotten so perceptive, wondering if she was right. His phone sat on the counter, still off. He left it that way. Friday came. Mark didn't take Mia to the cafe. She asked, begged, threw a tantrum that ended with her screaming that she hated him, which she'd never said before, which made something inside him crumble. We're not going, he said firmly. End of discussion. I want to see Adriana. Well, you can't. Why are you being like this? Because I'm your father, and I said so. It was the worst reason, the kind of reason his own dad had used, the kind that ended conversations without actually solving anything. Mia cried herself to sleep that night. Mark lasted until midnight before he turned his phone back on. 17 missed calls, a dozen texts, all from the same number. He scrolled through them. Most were variations of please let me explain and I'm sorry and I miss you both. The last one, sent an hour ago, was different. I understand if you hate me. I understand if you never want to see me again, but please don't punish Mia for my mistakes. She deserves better than that. Mark stared at the screen until the words blurred. She was right. Of course she was right. He typed, Tuesday, 3 p.m. The cafe. You get one chance. The response came seconds later. Thank you. He didn't reply, just set the phone down and tried to convince himself he hadn't just made everything worse. Saturday and Sunday crawled by. Mia perked up when he told her they'd see Adriana on Tuesday, but she was still wary, still watching him like she expected him to change his mind. You promise? She asked Sunday night. I promise. You're not going to yell at her? I'm not going to yell. Are you going to be nice? I'm going to listen. That's all I can promise right now. Mia considered this. Okay, that's good enough. Monday he worked a double shift, maintenance at an office building, then overnight security at a warehouse. Came home Tuesday morning, exhausted and wired, showered, slept 3 hours, and woke up with his heart pounding like he'd run a marathon. He picked Mia up from school early. She was vibrating with excitement. Is Adriana going to be there? I don't know. She will be. I know she will. She was right. Adriana was already in the corner booth when they walked in, hands wrapped around a coffee cup, eyes fixed on the door. When she saw them, her whole body seemed to exhale. She stood as they approached, started to say something, stopped. Mia broke the tension by running forward and hugging her. I missed you, Mia said into Adriana's coat. I missed you too, sweetheart. Adriana's eyes met Mark's over Mia's head. There were dark circles under them. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. Good. That made 2 of them. They sat. The same booth, the same positions, but everything felt different, fragile, like one wrong word would shatter whatever chance they had left. Barb appeared, looking between them with obvious curiosity. The usual? She asked. Please, Adriana said quietly. When the food came, pancakes for Mia, coffee for Adriana, water for Mark, nobody moved to eat. Can I go color? Mia asked, eyeing the kids' activity corner in the back. Mark hesitated. Adriana caught it. We won't leave, she said. I promise. Whatever happens, we'll still be here when you come back. Mia looked at Mark. He nodded. She grabbed her backpack and disappeared to the corner, leaving them alone. Adriana spoke first. I'm a CEO. Mark's brain stuttered. What? I run a company. Vale Industries. We do commercial real estate development, office buildings, apartment complexes, retail centers. 1,200 employees. Revenue last year was just over $2 billion. The numbers didn't compute. Couldn't compute. You're a billionaire. Yes, personal net worth is around $3 billion, give or take. The cafe seemed to tilt. Mark gripped the edge of the table. You've been lying to me for 2 months. I've been omitting things. There's a difference. Bullshit. Mark, you sat here and let me talk about struggling to pay rent. about juggling 3 jobs, about whether I could afford chocolate chips on pancakes. And the whole time you're worth $3 billion? I never lied. You let me feel like shit for not being able to buy my own daughter a decent meal. You watched me count change, and you said nothing. Because it didn't matter, Adriana said, voice rising. None of that mattered. I didn't care about the money or the difference between us. I just wanted, what? A little poverty tourism? See how the other half lives? That's not fair. You want to talk about fair? Fair would have been telling me the truth from the start. And if I had? She leaned forward. If I'd walked up to you that first day and said, "Hi, I'm Adriana Vale. I'm worth $3 billion, and I'd like to buy you pancakes," would you have let me? Mark's jaw clenched. Exactly, she said. You would have walked away. You almost did anyway, because you can't stand the idea of accepting help from anyone, let alone someone with money. This isn't about me. It's absolutely about you. It's about your pride and your fear and your conviction that you have to do everything alone. I don't have a choice. Everyone has a choice, Mark. You choose to keep people at arm's length. You choose to see kindness as charity and charity as insult. You choose to be alone. I'm not alone. I have Mia. And she deserves more than a father who's too stubborn to accept that sometimes people just want to help because they care. The words hung between them. Mark's hands were shaking. He shoved them under the table. Why didn't you tell me? He asked. Quieter now. When we started, whatever this was, why keep it secret? Adriana looked down at her coffee. Because for the first time in 15 years, someone saw me as just a person, not a CEO, not a name on a building, not a bank account, just Adriana, a woman who got stood up and cried in a cafe. And when Mia asked if I was okay, she didn't know who I was. She just knew I was sad. And that was, her voice cracked. That was the most honest interaction I'd had in years. So you decided to keep lying. I decided to keep being the person you thought I was, because that person got to sit with you and Mia and talk about homework and parks and stupid things that didn't involve quarterly reports or board meetings. That person got to be normal, and I didn't want to lose that. Mark shook his head. You can't split yourself in half, pretend to be someone you're not. I wasn't pretending. That's the point. Everything I told you was true. I do get lonely. I am tired of people treating me differently because of money. I did get stood up by a guy who looked me up and decided I was too intimidating. All of that was real. But you left out the most important part. What, that I'm rich? Why does that matter? Because it changes everything. It doesn't have to. Yes, it does, Mark said. Look at us. Look at this. I'm sitting here in a $15 jacket I bought at Goodwill. You're wearing a coat that probably costs more than my car. I work 3 jobs to keep my daughter fed. You could buy this entire cafe without thinking about it. How the hell does that not change things? Adriana's eyes were bright. Tears, maybe. Or anger. Because I don't care about any of that. I care about you. Both of you. I care that Mia lights up when she talks about dinosaurs. I care that you taught yourself plumbing from YouTube videos. I care that you make her pancakes on Sunday mornings, even though you're exhausted. I care about the things that actually matter. Money matters, Adriana. It matters when you don't have it. I know that. You think I don't know that? I grew up with nothing. My parents were immigrants who worked 3 jobs between them, just like you do. I know exactly what it's like to count change for groceries. The difference is, I got lucky. I built something. And now I have more money than I know what to do with, and it doesn't make me happy. You know what makes me happy? Tuesday afternoons with a 6-year-old who thinks I'm cool because I can do long division. Friday mornings when you tell me about Mrs. Chen's broken sink. That's what makes me happy, not the billions. Mark wanted to believe her, wanted it so badly it hurt. How do I know this is real, he asked. How do I know you're not just bored, slumming it with the poor people until you get tired and go back to your real life? Because my real life is miserable, she said flatly. My real life is board meetings and hostile takeovers, and people who smile to my face while plotting to undermine me. My real life is coming home to an empty penthouse at midnight and realizing I haven't had a genuine conversation in weeks. My real life is so goddamn lonely, I cried in a cafe because a stranger stood me up. She wiped her eyes roughly. You and Mia are the best thing that's happened to me in years. Maybe ever. And I know I should have told you sooner. I know I screwed up. But I was terrified that if you knew, you'd look at me differently. And I was right, wasn't I? Because you're looking at me differently right now. Mark was. He couldn't help it. This wasn't the woman he'd been having pancakes with for 2 months. This was someone bigger, more complicated. Someone whose problems existed on a scale he couldn't begin to understand. I don't know how to do this, he admitted. Do what? Be around someone like you. I don't know the rules. I don't know how to fit into your world. You don't have to fit into my world. I want to fit into yours. That's not how it works. Why not? Because your world has gravity. It pulls everything toward it. And mine's too small, too insignificant. It'll just get swallowed up. Adriana reached across the table, stopped herself before touching his hand. What if I don't want that world anymore? She asked. What if I want this? Cheap coffee and pancakes and helping with homework? What if I want simple? You say that now, but eventually you'll get bored. You'll remember you have a company to run and a life to live and what? I'll leave like your ex did? Direct hit. Mark flinched. This isn't about Sarah. Isn't it? She left because being a mother was too hard, because poverty and struggle weren't what she signed up for. And now you think everyone will do the same. You think I will. Won't you? No. Firm. Absolute. I won't, because I'm not Sarah. I'm not bored or curious or experimenting. I'm in love with you. The world stopped. Mark's brain shut down completely, just static and white noise and the word love echoing in his skull. You're in love with you, Adriana repeated. I have been for weeks, maybe longer. I don't know when it happened. Somewhere between pancakes and park visits and watching you be the most devoted father I've ever seen. Somewhere in the space of realizing that money means nothing if you're alone. And I know this is too much. I know I'm springing everything on you at once, and you probably hate me right now. But you asked for the truth. So there it is. All of it. Mark couldn't breathe. Say something, Adriana whispered. What could he say? That he loved her too? That he'd been falling for weeks without realizing it? That the thought of her leaving made him want to break things? I don't know what to do with that, he managed. You don't have to do anything. I'm not asking for a response or a declaration. I'm just being honest, like you asked. This is insane. I know. We don't make sense. I know. You're a billionaire CEO and I fix sinks for a living. I know that too. So what the hell are we supposed to do? Adriana's smile was sad, tired. I don't know. Figure it out as we go, maybe. Or don't. Maybe this is where it ends. Maybe you walk away and I go back to my empty penthouse and we both move on with our lives. Is that what you want? No. What I want is to keep having pancakes with you and Mia every Tuesday and Friday. What I want is to watch her in school plays and help with homework and listen to you talk about plumbing disasters. What I want is to be part of something real for once in my goddamn life. She stood abruptly. But I can't force that. So you need to decide. Do you want me in your life or not? All of me. Not just the version you're comfortable with. All of it. The money, the company, the complicated mess that comes with being who I am. Because I'm not going to apologize for being successful. And I'm not going to pretend to be less than I am. But I'm willing to make room for you, for both of you, if you'll let me. Mark stared at her. She pulled out her wallet, set down $300 bills on the table. For the pancakes, and everything else. Adriana, I have to go. I have a meeting in an hour. But think about what I said. And if you decide you want to try, really try, call me. If not, her voice wavered. If not, I'll understand. I won't contact you again. I promise. She walked toward the door, stopped, turned back. I meant what I said about loving you, both of you. I know it's fast and probably crazy, but it's true. And whatever you decide, that won't change. Then she was gone. Mark sat alone in the booth, staring at $300 like it was evidence from a crime scene. Mia appeared at his elbow. Where'd Adriana go? She had to leave. Is she coming back? I don't know, baby. Mia climbed into the booth, studied his face with unnerving precision. You look sad again. Yeah. Did she tell you this truth? How did you I heard some of it. Not everything, but enough. Mark scrubbed his hands over his face. She's really rich, Mia. Like, really, really rich. So? So that changes things. Does it change that she's nice? No. Does it change that she helps me with homework? No. Does it change that she makes you smile? Mia, does it? No, he admitted. It doesn't change that. Then why does it matter? 6 years old. 6 years old and cutting through his bullshit like it was tissue paper. Because I'm scared, Mark said honestly. I'm scared she'll realize we're not enough. That this life isn't enough. And she'll leave. Did she say she'd leave? No. Did she say she loves us? Mark's throat closed. Yeah, she did. Then why don't you believe her? It's not that simple. It is, Daddy. You're just making it complicated. She slid out of the booth and grabbed his hand. Come on, let's go home. Mark let her pull him up, let her lead him out of the cafe into the cold December afternoon. The $300 stayed on the table. Barb would find it later. Probably have a heart attack, probably call him to ask what the hell happened. He'd figure out what to say when that time came. Right now he had to think, had to decide if he was brave enough to try something that terrified him, had to figure out if love was enough to bridge a gap that felt insurmountable. He didn't call Tuesday night, or Wednesday, or Thursday. Mia asked about Adriana constantly. When were they seeing her? Could they go to the cafe? Could she call her? Not yet, Mark kept saying. I need to think. Friday morning, he woke up to a text from an unknown number, different from Adriana's. This one had a professional signature. Mr. Sullivan, my name is Robert Chen. I'm Ms. Vale's executive assistant. She asked me to reach out regarding your daughter's upcoming birthday. She wanted to send a gift but didn't want to overstep. Could you please advise? Mark stared at the message. Mia's birthday was in 2 weeks. He'd been planning the usual, grocery store cake, maybe a trip to the park if the weather cooperated. Nothing big, nothing he couldn't afford. He typed back, tell Ms. Vale thank you, but we're fine. The response came immediately. Understood. She also wanted me to let you know that if you need anything, anything at all, you only need to ask. We don't need anything. I'll let her know. Mark set the phone down, picked it up again. How is she? A pause, then, honestly? Not well. She's been working 16-hour days, barely sleeping. I've worked for her for 8 years and I've never seen her like this. Guilt twisted in Mark's gut. That's not my fault. I didn't say it was. But she cares about you. Both of you. More than she's cared about anything in a long time. You don't know me. You don't know what's best for her. You're right. I don't. But I know she was different after she met you, lighter, and now she's not. Make of that what you will. The conversation ended there. Mark spent Friday in a daze. Went through the motions at work, fixed a garbage disposal, replaced a ceiling fan, patched drywall. His hands knew what to do even when his brain was elsewhere. Mia's teacher called again. Mr. Sullivan, I'm worried about Mia. She's not herself, very withdrawn, won't engage with the other children. Did something happen? We're dealing with some stuff, Mark said. I'm handling it. If there's anything the school can do, we're fine. He wasn't fine. Mia wasn't fine. Nothing was fine. Saturday, he took Mia to the park, watched her play on the swings alone while other kids ran in packs, laughing and shouting. She used to play with them, used to make friends easily. Now she just swung back and forth, humming to herself, lost in her own head. Mia, he called, you okay? I'm fine. She wasn't. He could tell. That night, putting her to bed, she asked, do you think Adriana's sad? I don't know, baby. I think she is. I think she misses us. Maybe. Do you miss her? Mark smoothed her hair back. Yeah, I do. Then why don't you call her? It's complicated. Mia's face crumpled. I'm tired of things being complicated. I just want things to be normal again. What's normal? Pancakes on Tuesday. Adriana helping with my homework. You smiling? She looked up at him with eyes too old for 6. You don't smile anymore, Daddy. That broke something in him. I'm sorry, he whispered. Don't be sorry. Just fix it. I don't know how. Yes, you do. You always know how to fix things. If only that were true. Sunday morning, Mark sat at the kitchen table with his phone in his hand, Adriana's number pulled up, cursor blinking in the message field. He typed and deleted a dozen messages. I'm sorry, can we talk? I miss you. I don't know what to do. None of them felt right. Finally, he just wrote, Mia's birthday is December 20th, 2 p.m., our apartment, if you want to come. He hit send before he could second guess himself. The response came 10 minutes later. I'd love to, thank you. And then, can I bring a gift? Mark's first instinct was to say no, but he remembered what Adriana had said about not apologizing for who she was, about being accepted fully or not at all. Something small, he typed. Nothing crazy. Define crazy. No cars. No ponies. No college funds. A pause. Then, you're no fun. Fine. Something small. Despite everything, Mark smiled. It was a start. The days leading up to Mia's birthday felt like walking on ice. Mark kept waiting for something to crack beneath him, for Adriana to text and say she'd changed her mind, for the fragile truce they'd established to shatter under the weight of everything unsaid. But she didn't back out. Instead, she texted Tuesday morning asking what kind of cake Mia liked. Chocolate, Mark wrote back. Always chocolate. Noted. Wednesday, she asked about dietary restrictions, allergies, favorite colors, small questions that felt enormous, each one a reminder that she was trying, that she wanted to get this right. Thursday evening, his phone rang. Adriana's name on the screen. He stared at it for 3 rings before answering. Hello? Hi. Her voice was cautious, careful. Is this a bad time? No, Mia's doing homework. What's up? I wanted to ask. She paused. Would it be okay if I came a little early? Maybe 30 minutes before the party? I thought I could help set up. Mark looked around their apartment. 1 bedroom, a bathroom where the sink dripped no matter how many times he fixed it, a kitchen barely big enough for 2 people, the kind of place you apologized for before people walked in. You don't have to do that. I know, but I'd like to, if that's okay. He should say no, should maintain some boundary, some distance. Instead, he heard himself say, yeah, that'd be good. Okay. Relief flooded her voice. I'll see you Saturday then. 1:30? 1:30. After he hung up, Mia appeared from behind her curtain. Was that Adriana? Yeah. Is she still coming? She's still coming. Mia's whole face lit up. Can I make her a card? Sure, baby. She disappeared back to her corner, already chattering to herself about what to draw. Mark stood in the kitchen, phone still in his hand, trying to ignore the flutter of nerves in his chest. Friday, he cleaned the apartment like his life depended on it. Scrubbed floors, wiped down counters, organized the chaos that had accumulated in corners. Mia helped, dusting surfaces with a sock on her hand, singing made-up songs about birthdays and cake. Why are you cleaning so much? She asked. Because we're having a guest. Adriana's not a guest, she's our friend. Still, it's polite. Mia shrugged and went back to sock dusting. But Mark caught her smile, the first real one he'd seen in weeks. That night, after Mia was asleep, he sat on their threadbare couch and let himself think about what he was doing, letting Adriana back in, opening the door he'd slammed shut, risking everything all over again. She'd said she loved him, loved them, said it like it was fact, like gravity or sunrise. He didn't know what to do with that, didn't know how to trust it. But Mia deserved more than his fear. She deserved people who showed up, who stayed, who meant what they said. And maybe, so did he. Saturday morning arrived cold and bright. Mia woke up vibrating with excitement, bouncing on Mark's bed at 6:30, demanding pancakes and presents, and declaring it the best day ever before it had even started. Presents come later, Mark said, groggy and half asleep. But it's my birthday. Birthdays don't start until at least 8 o'clock. That's the rule. That's a stupid rule. Probably. But it's my rule, so we're stuck with it. She flopped dramatically across his legs. Can we at least have pancakes? Yeah, kiddo, we can have pancakes. They ate breakfast together, Mia chattering nonstop about turning 7, about how she was basically a grown-up now, about whether Adriana would bring a good present. She said something small, Mark reminded her. Small can still be good. Just don't get your hopes up too high, okay? But Mia was already hoping. He could see it in her eyes, bright and expectant, and so damn trusting it scared him. The morning dragged. Mark tried to distract himself with last-minute party prep, hanging streamers he'd bought at the dollar store, setting out paper plates, checking the cake he'd picked up yesterday from the grocery store bakery. It was small, simple, chocolate with purple frosting and "Happy 7th Birthday Mia" in wobbly letters. Nothing like what Adriana could probably order with a phone call, but it was what he could afford, and it would have to be enough. 1:15. Mark changed his shirt 3 times before settling on the least wrinkled option. Mia wore her favorite dress, purple with sparkles, too short now, but she refused to give it up. 1:25. Mark paced the living room while Mia sat by the window watching the street. 1:30 exactly, a black sedan pulled up outside. "She's here!" Mia shrieked. Mark's stomach flipped. He watched through the window as Adriana got out of the car. She was dressed down, jeans, a simple sweater, hair loose instead of pulled back, trying to fit in, trying to be the version of herself that belonged here. She pulled a gift bag from the car, not huge but not tiny either, and she was carrying something else, a canvas tote that looked heavy. Mia was already at the door, yanking it open before Adriana made it up the stairs. "You came!" "Of course I came." Adriana set down her bags and crouched to Mia's level. "Happy birthday, sweetheart." Mia threw her arms around Adriana's neck. Adriana hugged back, eyes closing briefly, and Mark saw something crack in her expression. Relief, joy, something raw. When Mia finally pulled away, Adriana stood and met Mark's eyes. "Hi." "Hi," he echoed. Awkward silence stretched between them. 2 weeks ago they'd been easy together. Now they were strangers figuring out how to exist in the same space. "Come in," Mark said finally. "Sorry, it's not much." "It's perfect," Adriana interrupted. She stepped inside, looking around with genuine interest. "I like it. It feels lived in, real." Not the response he'd expected. She set her bags on the kitchen counter. "I brought supplies for decorating, if that's okay. I thought we could, I don't know, make it festive." The tote bag was full of party supplies, not expensive-looking stuff, just normal things, more streamers, balloons, a birthday banner. "You didn't have to do that," Mark said. "I wanted to." They worked together in careful silence, hanging decorations while Mia supervised and offered contradictory advice. Adriana moved around the small space without making it feel crowded, asking where things should go instead of taking over. She was trying. He could feel it in every gesture. "The cake's in the fridge," Mark said, "from the grocery store. It's not fancy, but I'm sure it's wonderful." She didn't sound condescending, just honest. By 2 o'clock, the apartment looked like a birthday bomb had gone off. Streamers everywhere, balloons clustered in corners, the banner crooked across one wall because they couldn't get it straight. It looked perfect. Mia's friends arrived in clusters, kids from school with their parents, who gave the apartment polite once-overs and chatted awkwardly near the door. Mark had invited 6 kids. 5 showed up, which he counted as a win. Adriana helped wrangle children with the ease of someone who'd probably managed boardrooms full of hostile executives. She organized games, settled disputes over toys, and somehow convinced 7 kids to actually sit still for cake. Mark watched her from the kitchen, this woman worth billions, sitting cross-legged on their worn carpet, helping a 6-year-old named Tyler open a juice box. One of the other parents, Jessica, Tyler's mom, sidled up to Mark. "Is that your girlfriend?" "What? No, we're friends." Jessica raised an eyebrow. "She looks at you like you're more than friends. She's good with kids." "Huh? Sure," Jessica smiled. "She seems nice. Little out of place maybe, but nice." Out of place. Yeah, that was one way to put it. The party wound down around 4. Parents collected their sugar-crashed children, thanking Mark, and completely ignoring Adriana, which he knew bothered her, even though she didn't say anything. When the last guest left, the apartment looked like a disaster zone. Paper plates and cups everywhere, frosting smeared on surfaces, balloons slowly deflating in corners. "That was the best party ever," Mia declared, sprawled on the couch in a food coma. "I'm glad, baby." "Can I open Adriana's present now?" Mark looked at Adriana. She nodded. "Go ahead, sweetheart." Mia tore into the gift bag with the enthusiasm of someone who'd been waiting hours. Inside was a leather journal, clearly expensive but understated, the kind of thing an adult would appreciate more than a 7-year-old. Mia's face fell slightly. A notebook? Not just a notebook, Adriana said gently. It's a journal for writing down your thoughts, your stories, the things you want to remember. She pulled out a fancy pen. And this goes with it. I thought maybe you could write about your adventures, the things you do with your dad. Whatever you want. Mia turned the journal over in her hands. Like a diary? Exactly like a diary. Cool. Mia opened it, flipping through blank pages. Can I write about today? Absolutely. She disappeared behind her curtain, already composing out loud. Alone with Adriana, the apartment suddenly felt very small. Thank you, Mark said, for coming, for everything. You don't have to thank me. Yeah, I do. They started cleaning up together, moving around each other in the cramped space. Mark gathered paper plates while Adriana tied off balloon strings. The silence wasn't comfortable exactly, but it wasn't hostile either. The other parents didn't talk to you much, Mark said. I noticed. Sorry about that. It's fine. I'm used to it. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. People don't know what to make of me. I don't fit in their box of what a person should be. What box? The mom box, the girlfriend box, the appropriate woman at a children's birthday party box? She shoved trash into a bag. I'm too polished, too formal, too much. You're not too much. That's kind of you to say. I'm not being kind. I'm being honest. He paused. You were great today. With the kids. With Mia. She's easy to be great with. Still, you didn't have to do all this. Adriana stopped cleaning and looked at him. Really looked at him. I wanted to be here, Mark. Not because I felt obligated. Not because I was trying to prove something. I wanted to spend Mia's birthday with her. With you. Because you matter to me. There it was again. That raw honesty that made his chest tight. You matter to me too, he said quietly. Do I? Because sometimes I can't tell. Sometimes it feels like you're waiting for me to leave. Like you've already decided how this ends. That's not, isn't it? She set down the trash bag. You look at me like I'm temporary, like I'm just passing through until I get bored and move on to something more interesting. Can you blame me? Look at you. Look at this. He gestured around the apartment. This is my life. This is all I have. Why would you stay when you could have anything? Because I don't want anything, Adriana said, voice rising. I want this. I want Saturday afternoon birthday parties and grocery store cake and a little girl who writes in a journal. I want normal and real and... She cut herself off, turning away. Mark took a step closer. And what? And you, she whispered. I want you. I already told you that. But you don't believe me. It's not that I don't believe you. It's that I don't understand. What do you see in me, in us? We're broke and messy and real, Adriana interrupted, spinning back to face him. You're real. Every conversation we've had, every moment, it's been honest. You don't want anything from me except my time. Do you know how rare that is? You make it sound like you're the one getting the better deal. I am. That's insane. Is it? She stepped closer. You're a good father, a good person. You work yourself to exhaustion to give your daughter a decent life. You fix things with your hands and you make pancakes on Sunday mornings, and you look at me like I'm just a person, not a bank account. Why wouldn't I want that? Mark's throat felt tight. Because it's not enough. It's enough for me. Now maybe, but what about in 6 months? A year? When the novelty wears off and you remember you have a company to run and a life that doesn't include... He gestured helplessly. This. What if I restructured my life? Adriana asked. What if I stepped back from the company, hired someone to run day-to-day operations? You'd hate that. Would I? I hate it now. The long hours, the constant pressure, the loneliness. What if there's a different way? Adriana, I'm serious. I've been thinking about it. Before I met you, work was all I had. It consumed everything. But now, she paused. Now I know what I'm missing, and I don't want to keep missing it. Mark shook his head. You can't just restructure a billion-dollar company because of us. Why not? It's my company. Because it's not sustainable. You'll resent us eventually. Blame us for giving up something you loved. I don't love it. That's the point. I never loved it. I just didn't have anything else. From behind the curtain, they heard Mia humming to herself, writing in her journal, oblivious to the conversation happening 10 feet away. I don't know how to do this, Mark admitted. How to be with someone like you. I'll mess it up. I'll say the wrong thing or make you feel like you have to hide who you are. You already did that, Adriana said, at the cafe when you told me to leave, and I'm still here. I was an asshole. You were scared. There's a difference. She closed the remaining distance between them. I'm scared too. Terrified, actually. I'm terrified you'll never trust me, that you'll always see the money first and me second, that I'll love you and Mia, and it won't be enough to bridge the gap between our worlds. Adriana, but I'm willing to try anyway, because what we have, what we could have, is worth being terrified for. Mark looked at her, really looked, at the dark circles under her eyes that makeup couldn't quite hide, at the careful way she held herself, like she was braced for rejection, at the hope buried beneath the fear. She meant it. She actually meant it. I don't know how to let you in, he said honestly. I don't know how to trust that you'll stay. Then let me prove it. Let me show up. Let me be here for the small things and the big things and all the messy things in between. What if I can't give you what you need? What if you already have? They stood there, close enough to touch but not touching, the space between them charged with everything unsaid. From behind the curtain, Mia called out, Daddy, how do you spell chocolate? The moment broke. Mark stepped back, calling CHOCOLATE. Thanks. When he looked back at Adriana, she was smiling, soft, real. I should go, she said. Let you two have your evening. You could stay for dinner. It's just spaghetti from a jar, but I'd love to. Relief flooded through him. Yeah? Yeah. They made dinner together in the tiny kitchen, bumping into each other in the small space, settling into a rhythm that felt familiar despite everything. Adriana chopped vegetables while Mark boiled water. She asked where things were instead of assuming, deferred to him in his own space. Mia set the table, mismatched plates and bent forks, but arranged with care. They ate together, the three of them squeezed around a table built for two, talking about nothing and everything. Afterward, Adriana helped with dishes while Mia showed her the journal entries she'd started. 3 pages already, messy handwriting and misspellings and pure enthusiasm. This is wonderful, Adriana said, reading over Mia's shoulder. I wrote about the party, and about you coming, and about how Daddy smiled today. Did he? Yeah. He doesn't smile much anymore. But he smiled when you got here. Mark, drying dishes at the sink, felt his face heat. Adriana caught his eye and mouthed, cute. He looked away, fighting a smile. By 7:30, Mia was fading. The sugar crash plus birthday excitement left her drooping on the couch. I should get her to bed, Mark said. I should go anyway. Adriana grabbed her coat. Thank you for letting me come today. It meant a lot. Thank you for coming. Mia stumbled over for a hug. Will you come back? If your dad says it's okay. Mia looked at Mark. He looked at Adriana. Yeah, he heard himself say. You can come back. Something in Adriana's expression cracked open. Tuesday? The cafe? Tuesday. The cafe. I'll be there. She hugged Mia goodbye, then hesitated at the door. For a second, Mark thought she might hug him too, or kiss him, or something. But she just said, Good night, Mark. Good night. After she left, Mark got Mia ready for bed, listening to her chatter about the best birthday ever, about how Adriana was the best, about how Daddy should marry her so she could be there all the time. Mia, I know, it's complicated, but it doesn't have to be. He tucked her in, smoothing her wild curls. Get some sleep, birthday girl. Daddy? Yeah? I'm glad you let her come back. Me too, baby. Me too. He turned off the light and retreated to the couch, exhausted but wired. The apartment still smelled like birthday cake and Adriana's perfume. His phone buzzed. A text. Thank you for today. For giving me a chance. I won't waste it. He stared at the message for a long time before typing back. I'm still scared. Me too. But maybe we can be scared together. I'd like that. Mark set the phone down and looked around their small apartment. At the decorations still hanging, at the deflated balloons, at the life he'd built with just him and Mia, small and limited, but theirs. And for the first time in weeks, he let himself imagine what it might look like with one more person in it. Tuesday came and they met at the cafe. Same booth, same routine, but different somehow. The air between them had shifted, not fixed. There was still too much unresolved for that, but softer, more hopeful. Mia dominated the conversation, telling Adriana about every detail of her birthday party that Adriana had already witnessed. Adriana listened like it was all new information. Mark watched them together and felt something settle in his chest. Not peace exactly, but possibility. When they left, Adriana walked them to their car. "Same time Friday?" she asked. "Yeah. Can I—" She hesitated. "Can I call you? Between our cafe days, just to talk?" Mark's first instinct was to say no, keep the boundaries clear. But Mia was looking up at him with those hopeful eyes, and he was tired of being the person who said no to everything. "Yeah, you can call." Adriana smiled, a real one. Okay. She did call. Wednesday evening, while Mia was doing homework. They talked for an hour about nothing important. Her day, his day. A funny thing Mia had said. It felt normal. Easy. Thursday she called again. This time they talked about harder things. About Sarah leaving, about Adriana's parents dying when she was 19, about being alone. "I don't want to be alone anymore," she said quietly. "Me neither." Friday at the cafe, Adriana seemed lighter, less guarded. She laughed at Mark's stupid jokes and helped Mia with a science project and paid for their pancakes without making it a thing. After, walking to the car, Mia ran ahead to look at something in a store window. Adriana touched Mark's arm. "Is this okay? Us doing this? I don't want to push." "You're not pushing. It's good." "Good?" "Yeah, really good." She smiled and something warm spread through his chest. The next week followed the same pattern. Tuesday and Friday at the cafe. Phone calls in between. Slow, careful steps toward something neither of them could quite name yet. But it was building. Mark could feel it. Then came the call that changed everything. It was a Tuesday morning, 2 weeks after Mia's birthday. Mark was under a sink at a rental property when his phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer. "Hello? Is this Mark Sullivan?" A woman's voice, professional, clipped. "Yeah, who's this?" "My name is Vanessa Price. I'm a journalist with the Herald. I'm doing a piece on Adriana Vale, and I understand you're close with her?" Mark's blood went cold. "How did you get this number?" "That's not important. What is important is the story I'm working on. See, Adriana Vale is one of the most powerful women in the city. Built a billion-dollar empire from nothing. Very impressive. But she's also intensely private. Never been photographed with a romantic partner. No social life to speak of. And now suddenly she's spending time with a single father and his daughter. That's interesting, don't you think?" "I don't know what you're talking about." "Mr. Sullivan, I've seen the photos. You, Adriana, and your daughter. At the cafe, at the park. Coming out of your apartment building. It's a lovely story, actually. Billionaire CEO finds love with regular guy. Very heartwarming." Photos. There were photos. "Don't print anything," Mark said. "I'm going to print the story regardless. The question is whether you want to comment. Give your side. Otherwise, I'm left to speculate." "There's nothing to speculate about. We're friends. Friends who meet twice a week for months? Friends she spends birthdays with? Come on, Mr. Sullivan. I'm not stupid. Leave us alone. I'm just doing my job. The public has a right to know." Mark hung up. His hands were shaking. He tried to call Adriana. It went to voicemail. Tried again. Voicemail. Sent a text. "We need to talk. Now." 30 seconds later, his phone rang. Adriana. "What's wrong?" "Did you know there were photographers following us?" Silence. Then quietly. "What?" "A journalist just called me, said she has photos of us, together. She's writing a story." "Oh no, Mark, I'm so sorry. I never thought—" "You never thought people would be watching you? You're a billionaire CEO. Of course people are watching you." I know. I wanted to keep this separate, private." Well, it's not private anymore. He could hear her breathing on the other end, ragged, panicked. What did you tell her? Adriana asked. Nothing. Hung up. But she's going to print something anyway. I'll handle it. I'll call my lawyers. We can what? Stop the press? Make this go away. Mark laughed bitterly. This is your world, Adriana. This is what I was afraid of. I know. I'll fix it. How? I don't know yet, but I will. I promise. Mark closed his eyes. I can't do this. Mark, I can't have my daughter's face in the newspaper. I can't have reporters calling me, digging into our lives. That's not... I didn't sign up for that. Neither did I. But it comes with you, doesn't it? The attention, the scrutiny. That's the package deal. I'll make a statement. Say we're just friends. Get them to back off. And what happens next time? And the time after that? How long before they're camped outside Mia's school? Adriana was crying now. He could hear it. I don't know, she whispered. I don't know. But please don't end this because of them. Don't let them win. This isn't about winning or losing. This is about protecting my daughter. I want to protect her too, both of you. Just give me time to figure this out. Mark wanted to say yes, wanted to believe it could be fixed, but the truth was already settling in his gut like a stone. This was never going to work. Their worlds were too different. The gap was too wide, and he'd been a fool to think otherwise. I need to go, he said. Mark, please, I'll call you later. He hung up before she could respond. Stood there in a stranger's bathroom, sink half fixed, phone in his hand, and tried to figure out what the hell he was supposed to do now. Mark didn't finish fixing the sink. He packed up his tools, called the property manager with some excuse about needing a part he didn't have, and drove home in a daze. His phone kept buzzing, Adriana calling, texting. He ignored it all. When he picked Mia up from school that afternoon, she climbed into the car chattering about art class, about the painting she'd made, about whether they were seeing Adriana today. Not today, Mark said. Tomorrow? I don't know, baby. Something in his voice made her go quiet. She watched him with those too perceptive eyes as he drove, her painting clutched in her lap. Is something wrong? No, everything's fine. You sound like everything's not fine. He glanced at her in the rearview mirror, 7 years old, and already she could read him like a book. Just some grown-up stuff, he said. Nothing for you to worry about. But she was already worrying. He could see it in the way she chewed her bottom lip, the way her fingers crumpled the edge of her painting. At home, she disappeared behind her curtain without being asked. No demands for snacks or TV or attention, just silence. Mark sat on the couch and finally looked at his phone. 23 missed calls, 16 texts. The most recent one, sent 10 minutes ago, just said, please, sent tens. He should call her back, have an actual conversation. But what was there to say? His phone rang again. Different number. He answered without thinking. Mr. Sullivan, Vanessa Price, again. I wanted to give you one more chance to comment before the story runs tomorrow. Tomorrow? Early edition. Front page of the lifestyle section. Billionaire CEO's secret romance. It's quite a compelling piece. Are you sure you don't want to add anything? Mark's stomach dropped. You can't print that. I absolutely can. It's all public information. Photos taken in public places. No expectation of privacy. My daughter's in those photos. We'll blur her face, obviously. We're not monsters. But the story stands unless... She paused. Unless you'd like to give an exclusive interview, your side of the story. How you met, what it's like dating someone so far outside your tax bracket. Human interest angle. People love that kind of thing. Go to hell. He hung up. Immediately called Adriana. She answered on the first ring. Mark, the story runs tomorrow, front page. I know, my publicist just called. We're working on what? Damage control? Making me look like some gold digger who trapped a billionaire? That's not... Nobody thinks that. They will. That's how these things work, right? Poor single dad, rich CEO. People are going to assume I'm using you. I'll make a statement. Tell them the truth. What truth? That we're together? That we're not? What are we, Adriana? Silence. Long and painful. I don't know. she said finally. I thought we were building something, but maybe I was wrong. This is exactly what I was afraid of. Your life bleeding into mine, cameras and journalists, and I never wanted this. I tried to keep it separate. Well, you failed. The words came out harsher than he meant them. He heard her sharp intake of breath. I know, she whispered. I know I failed. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. Then what does? Tell me what to do and I'll do it. I don't know. He was shouting now, caught himself, lowered his voice. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to protect Mia from this circus. I don't know how to... How to what? How to be with you when being with you means dealing with all of this. Another silence. This one felt final. So that's it? Adriana asked. You're done? I don't know what I am. I just know I can't have photographers following my daughter. I can't have strangers writing about our lives like we're some entertainment. So you're choosing safety over us. I'm choosing my daughter over everything. That's what parents do. I would never hurt her, you know that. It's not about intentional hurt, it's about consequences. Your world has consequences I can't control. What if I stepped away? Adriana said suddenly. What if I left the company? Completely. Sold my shares, walked away. Would that be enough? Mark's chest tightened. You can't do that. Why not? Because it's who you are. Because you built that company from nothing. Because... He struggled. Because I can't be the reason you give up your life. What if my life without you isn't worth living? Don't say that. Why? It's true. I was miserable before I met you, successful and wealthy and completely hollow. You and Mia, you filled something I didn't even know was empty. That's not fair. You can't put that on us. I'm not putting anything on you. I'm telling you how I feel. I love you, Mark. I love Mia. And if walking away from Vail Industries means I get to keep you both, I'll do it in a heartbeat. Mark closed his eyes. And what happens in 5 years when you realize what you gave up? When you resent us for it? That won't happen. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Because I've had 15 years of building empires and making money and being successful, and none of it made me as happy as pancakes with you and Mia at a shitty cafe. Despite everything, Mark almost smiled. It's not that shitty. It's objectively terrible. The coffee tastes like burnt socks. Yeah, well, it's our terrible cafe. Exactly. Ours. The word hung between them. Ours. Like they were a unit, like they belonged together. Mark wanted to believe it. Wanted it so badly, it hurt. I need time, he said, to think, to figure out what this means for Mia. How much time? I don't know. The story runs tomorrow, Mark. By noon, everyone's gonna know. Your neighbors, Mia's school, everyone. You can't avoid this. I know. Let me help, please. Let me handle the press, manage the narrative. I have people for this. That's exactly the problem. You have people, lawyers and publicists and fixers who can make problems disappear. I don't. I'm just a guy trying to keep his head above water. So let me be your life raft. I don't want to be saved, Adriana. I want to save myself. She was crying now. He could hear it in her breathing. I love you, she said. I know you don't want to hear it. I know it's too much too fast. But I love you, and I don't know how to stop. Mark's throat closed. I need to go. I need to be with Mia. Okay? But Mark? Yeah? Whatever you decide, whatever happens, thank you. For letting me in, even for a little while. For showing me what it feels like to be part of something real. He couldn't respond. Just hung up and sat there staring at his phone, feeling like he'd just made the biggest mistake of his life. From behind the curtain, Mia's small voice. Daddy? Are you okay? Yeah, baby, I'm okay. You don't sound okay. He went to her corner, pulled back the curtain. She was sitting on her bed, journal open in her lap, looking up at him with worried eyes. What's wrong? She asked. Nothing's wrong. Is it about Adriana? How did she always know? Mark sat on the edge of her bed. Yeah, it's about Adriana. Are you fighting? Sort of. It's complicated. You always say that. Because it always is. Mia closed her journal. Do you love her? The question caught him off guard. What? Do you love her? Like how people love each other in movies? Mark looked at his daughter, her earnest face, her hope. Yeah, he admitted. I think I do. Then why are you pushing her away? Because I'm scared. Because her life is big and complicated and I don't know how we fit into it. Did you ask her? Ask her what? How we fit. Maybe she knows. Out of the mouths of children, Mark almost laughed. It's not that simple, Mia. Why not? Because there are things you don't understand about money and different worlds, and I understand that she makes you happy, and you make her happy. And that should be enough, shouldn't it? Should be. In a perfect world, maybe it would be. But the world wasn't perfect, and tomorrow morning, their lives were going to be splashed across the newspaper for everyone to see. I'm trying to protect you, Mark said. That's all I'm doing, trying to keep you safe. From what? From people talking, from things getting hard. Things are already hard, Daddy. We don't have a lot of money. The heat doesn't work sometimes. My coat's too small. She said it matter-of-factly, without self-pity. But we're happy anyway, because we have each other, and now we have Adriana too. Why would we give that up? Mark pulled her into a hug. She wrapped her skinny arms around his neck and held on tight. When did you get so smart? He asked. I've always been smart. You just don't listen sometimes. He laughed despite himself. You're right, I don't. So will you listen now? What am I listening to? To me, and to Adriana, and to your heart. She pulled back, looking at him seriously. Your heart knows what it wants. You're just scared to let it have it. 7 years old, and already wiser than he'd ever be. I'll think about it, he promised. Good, because I already lost one mom. I don't want to lose Adriana too. The words hit him like a punch. Mia had never called Sarah her mom, never referred to her as anything but the lady who left. But Adriana she was already claiming, already loving. Okay, Mark said. Okay, I'll figure it out. Promise? Promise. She smiled and picked up her journal again. Good. Now, can you help me spell catastrophe? I'm writing about today. Today was a catastrophe? A small one, but it's getting better. Mark spelled the word for her, then retreated to the couch. His phone was still buzzing. More texts from Adriana. One from a number he didn't recognize. He opened it. A photo. Him and Adriana and Mia leaving the cafe. Grainy but clear enough. Mia's face was visible. They'd said they'd blur it, but here it was, unblurred, sent to his phone like a threat. Another text came through. Cute kid. Shame if something happened to her privacy. Mark's blood went cold. He called the number. It rang twice before someone picked up. Mr. Sullivan, I was wondering when you'd call. Who is this? Someone who thinks you're making a mistake, walking away from Adriana Vale. That's a lottery ticket you're tearing up. What do you want? An interview, exclusive? Your story, your words. In exchange, we keep the kid's face out of it. We make you look good. The devoted single dad who won the heart of a billionaire. Very romantic. And if I say no, then we run what we have. And we keep digging. Who knows what we'll find? Old debts, maybe. Unpaid bills, eviction notices. The struggles of a man barely keeping it together suddenly dating one of the richest women in the country. People will talk. They'll wonder. They'll judge. You're blackmailing me. I'm offering you a deal. There's a difference. Mark's hand shook. Go to hell. He hung up. Immediately called Adriana. They're threatening me, he said when she answered. Threatening to dig into my life, expose everything. They want an interview. Don't give it to them. They have photos of Mia, unblurred. They won't use them. It's illegal to publish a minor's photo without parental consent. Since when do they care about legal? My lawyers will handle it, I promise. Just don't engage with them. Don't give them anything. Adriana, they're going to destroy us. No, they're not. I won't let them. How? How are you going to stop this? I don't know yet, but I will. Trust me. Trust. That word again. So simple, so impossible. I don't know if I can, he admitted. Then trust that I love you. Trust that I'll do whatever it takes to protect you and Mia, even if that means Her voice cracked. Even if that means walking away, giving you your privacy back, letting you live your life without this circus. Is that what you want? No. But it's not about what I want. It's about what's best for you and Mia. Mark pressed his palm against his eyes, tried to think through the panic. I don't want you to walk away, he said quietly. What? I don't want you to walk away. I'm terrified and I don't know how to do this, but I don't want to lose you. Silence. Then Adriana's shaky exhale. You're not going to lose me. I'm not going anywhere. Even if this gets ugly? Especially if this gets ugly. I've dealt with ugly before. Hostile takeovers, smear campaigns, corporate espionage. I can handle a few gossip journalists. This is different. This is personal. Exactly. Which is why I'm not backing down. Her voice hardened. They want a story? Fine. I'll give them a story. But it'll be on my terms, not theirs. What are you going to do? Hold a press conference tomorrow morning before their story runs. Get ahead of it. And say what? The truth. That I met you and Mia, that we became friends, that it developed into something more, that my personal life is my business, and anyone who harasses you or your daughter will face legal consequences. That'll just make it worse. Or it'll make it clear that you're off limits, that Mia is off limits, that this isn't a game. Mark wanted to argue, wanted to say it wouldn't work, that the press didn't care about boundaries or threats. But he was tired of fighting, tired of being afraid. Okay, he said, do it, but I want to be there. What? At the press conference, I want to be there. If we're doing this, we do it together. Mark, you don't have to eat. Yes, I do. If I'm going to be part of your life, I need to show up for the hard parts too, not just the pancakes and park visits. Are you sure? No, but I'm doing it anyway. He could hear her crying, happy tears this time. Okay, she whispered. Together. Together. After they hung up, Mark sat in the quiet apartment, listening to Mia hum behind her curtain. Tomorrow was going to be a disaster. Cameras and questions and scrutiny. Everything he'd been trying to avoid. But maybe Mia was right. Maybe his heart knew what it wanted. And maybe it was time to stop being afraid of it. He went to Mia's corner, pulled back the curtain. How would you like to skip school tomorrow? Her eyes went wide. Really? Really. We're going to go with Adriana to do something important. What kind of important? The kind where we tell a bunch of people that we care about her, and she cares about us, and they can mind their own business. Mia grinned. Can I wear my sparkly dress? You can wear whatever you want, baby. This is the best day ever. We'll see about that. But looking at his daughter's joy, Mark thought maybe, just maybe, it could be. The press conference was scheduled for 9 a.m. at Vail Industries headquarters. Mark had never been there, had actively avoided looking it up because seeing the scope of Adriana's empire would have made the gap between them feel even wider. Now, standing in front of a 60-story glass tower with Adriana's name etched above the entrance, he felt that gap like a physical weight. Holy shit, he muttered. Mia, holding his hand in her purple, sparkly dress, looked up at the building. Adriana works here? Yeah. It's really tall. Yeah, it is. A black car pulled up. Adriana stepped out, dressed in a sharp suit, hair pulled back every inch the CEO. When she saw them, her expression softened. You came. We said we would. She crouched to Mia's level. You look beautiful. Thank you. Daddy let me pick my outfit. He has excellent taste. She stood, meeting Mark's eyes. Are you ready for this? Absolutely not. Good. Me neither. They went inside. The lobby was all marble and steel and intimidation. People in expensive suits rushed past, barely glancing at them. A security guard started to stop Mark, then saw Adriana and waved them through. They took a private elevator to the top floor. Mia pressed every button until Mark stopped her. Adriana just smiled. I used to do that too, she said. Drove my assistant crazy. The doors opened to reveal a massive office suite. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the entire city. Modern furniture that probably cost more than Mark's car. Photos on the walls. Adriana shaking hands with mayors, governors, people Mark vaguely recognized from the news. This is where you work? He asked. Most days, yeah. It's too much? I was going to say impressive, but yeah, also too much. A woman in her 40s appeared, tablet in hand, looking stressed. Ms. Vale, they're ready. Media's assembled in conference room A. We have CNN, local news, the Herald, business journals. It's a full house. Thank you, Patricia. Adriana turned to Mark. You don't have to do this. You can wait here. I can handle the questions. We're doing this together, remember? The questions are going to be invasive, personal. So we don't answer them. It's not that simple. Sure it is. Yes, no, and none of your business. 3 answers. We'll be fine. Adriana almost smiled. You make it sound easy. It won't be, but we'll survive it. Patricia cleared her throat. Ms. Vale, we really should. Give us a minute. Patricia disappeared. Adriana looked at Mia. Sweetheart, you're going to stay with Patricia during the press conference, okay? She'll take good care of you. I want to come with you. I know, but there are going to be a lot of cameras and noise. It won't be fun. Will people be mean to Daddy? Adriana hesitated. Some of them might ask hard questions. Then I should be there, to hold his hand. Mark's chest tightened. Mia, please, Daddy, I want to help. Adriana looked at Mark. He looked at Mia's determined little face. Okay, he said. But you stay right next to me, and if it gets too much, we leave. Deal? Deal. Patricia reappeared. Ms. Vale, we're ready. They walked down a long hallway. Mark could hear voices ahead, the murmur of conversation, the click of cameras being tested. Last chance to back out, Adriana said. Not backing out. Okay? She took a deep breath. Then let's go face the wolves. The conference room was packed, cameras everywhere, reporters with recorders, photographers jockeying for position. When they walked in, the room went silent, then exploded with camera clicks. Mark's instinct was to grab Mia and run, but Adriana's hand found his, squeezed once, and kept walking. They sat at a long table at the front. Microphones set up, lights bright enough to hurt. Mark felt like an animal in a zoo. Adriana spoke first. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to make a brief statement, then I'll take limited questions. Please note that anything regarding my personal life beyond what I choose to share is off limits. Anyone who violates that will be removed. She paused, looked at Mark, then at the cameras. 3 months ago, I met Mark Sullivan and his daughter Mia at a cafe. I was having a difficult day. They showed me kindness. We became friends. Over time, that friendship developed into something more. I'm not going to define it or label it or turn it into a soundbite for your amusement. What I will say is that Mark and Mia have brought more joy into my life than I've experienced in years. They've reminded me what matters, and I will not tolerate any intrusion into their privacy. Mia is 7 years old. She deserves to be a child without cameras following her. Mark deserves to live his life without harassment. I'm making this statement to set the record straight and to make clear that anyone who crosses the line will face legal action. That's all I have to say. Immediately, hands shot up, voices shouting over each other. Ms. Vale, is this a serious relationship? Mark, how does it feel dating a billionaire? Are you planning to get married? Have you met each other's families? Adriana pointed to a reporter in the front. One question. Vanessa Price, the Herald. Mark, what do you say to people who think you're using Miss Vale for her money? Mark's jaw tightened. Adriana started to intervene, but he spoke first. I'd say they don't know what they're talking about. I didn't know who Adriana was when we met. I just knew she was sad and my daughter wanted to help. Everything after that, the friendship, the connection, it had nothing to do with money. It still doesn't. But surely the financial disparity doesn't matter, Mark interrupted. Not to me. Not to Mia. We're not interested in Adriana's bank account. We're interested in her. Another reporter jumped in. Ms. Vale, are you worried about Mark's financial situation? Have you offered to help him? My relationship with Mark is nobody's business but ours, Adriana said coldly. Next question. Is the child Mark's biological daughter or adopted? Mark stood up. We're done. Mr. Sullivan, I said we're done. You want to write about adults making adult decisions? Fine, but you leave my daughter out of it. He grabbed Mia's hand, started walking toward the exit. Adriana stood too. This press conference is over. Thank you for coming. More shouting, camera flashes. Mark kept walking. Felt Adriana's presence behind him, shielding them. They made it to the elevator. The doors closed on the chaos. Mark leaned against the wall, heart pounding. Mia was pressed against his leg. That was scary, she said. Yeah, baby, it was. Adriana looked stricken. I'm sorry. I thought if we controlled the narrative, it's fine. We got through it. They were awful, asking about Mia like she's public property. Welcome to my concerns about your world. Adriana flinched. Mark immediately regretted the words. I didn't mean... No, you're right. This is my world, and it's brutal, and I hate that you and Mia are being dragged into it. The elevator opened to the lobby. More reporters were gathered, must have come from the building across the street. Ms. Vale, one more question. No comment, Adriana said sharply. Security appeared, forming a barrier. They made it to Adriana's car, climbed in. The driver pulled away from the curb as cameras pressed against the windows. Mia was shaking. Mark pulled her onto his lap. It's okay. We're safe now. I don't like those people. Me neither. Adriana was staring out the window, jaw clenched. I'll have my lawyers send cease and desist letters to every outlet that showed Mia's face. We'll sue if necessary. That'll just make it a bigger story. I don't care. They crossed a line. Mark looked at her, at the fury in her eyes, the protectiveness. She meant it. She'd go to war for them. Thank you, he said quietly. She turned. For what? For trying. For caring. For... He gestured helplessly. For all of it. I love you, she said. Both of you. Of course I care. Mia looked up. We love you too. Adriana's eyes filled. Yeah? Yeah, right, Daddy? Mark met Adriana's gaze, saw the hope there, the fear, the desperate need for him to say it back. Yeah, he said. We do. Adriana covered her mouth. Tears spilled over. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry for all of this. Stop apologizing. We're in this now, together, like we said. Even after that disaster? Even after. The car drove them to Mark's apartment. Reporters were already camped outside. Not many, just 2 or 3, but enough to make Mark's stomach drop. We can go to my place, Adriana offered. It's more secure. Your place? I have a penthouse. It's downtown, security, doorman, the works. No one gets in without clearance. Mark looked at their building, at the reporters with cameras, at Mia, still trembling slightly. Okay, just for tonight, until this dies down. Okay. They drove to a building that made Vale Industries look modest, all glass and steel and money. The kind of place Mark had seen in movies but never imagined entering. The doorman greeted Adriana by name. Security waved them through without question. They took an elevator that required a key card, traveling to the top floor in silence. The doors opened directly into Adriana's penthouse. Mark stepped out and stopped. The space was massive, open concept, floor-to-ceiling windows showing the entire city skyline, modern furniture that looked uncomfortable and expensive, art on the walls that was probably worth more than Mark's entire life. Holy shit, he breathed. Mia's eyes were huge. You live here? I do. Make yourself at home. Make yourself at home. In a space that felt like a museum. Mark stood awkwardly in the entryway while Mia wandered, touching things carefully like they might break. Adriana watched them with an unreadable expression. It's too much, isn't it? She said. It's different. I can see you hating it. I don't hate it. I don't know how to exist in a place like this. You exist the same way you exist anywhere. You sit, you breathe, you live. It doesn't feel like a place for living. It feels like a place for existing between meetings. Adriana's face fell. You're right. It is. I bought it 5 years ago because it was expected. A CEO with a penthouse. But it's never felt like home. Then why stay? Because I didn't have anywhere else to go. The words hung heavy. Mia called from across the room. Adriana, can I look at your books? Of course, sweetheart. She disappeared. Mark and Adriana stood alone in the cavernous space. I can't live here, Mark said. I know that's not what you're asking, but I need to say it. This isn't me. I know. And I can't ask you to give this up. You're not asking. I'm offering. Adriana, I mean it. I'll sell it. Buy something smaller, something that feels like a home. You can't just upend your entire life for us. Watch me. She crossed to him, stood close enough that he could smell her perfume. I've been living half a life for 15 years, she said. Building things, making money, climbing ladders that don't lead anywhere. I'm tired, Mark. I'm tired of pretending this is enough. And I'm tired of being alone in a penthouse that costs more than most people make in a lifetime, but doesn't have a single photo on the walls or a dish in the sink, or any sign that a human being actually lives here. So what do you want? I want mess. I want dishes in the sink and toys on the floor and a life that looks lived in. I want Tuesday pancakes and homework help and birthday parties in small apartments. I want you and Mia. That's what I want. Mark searched her face, looking for doubt, for hesitation, for any sign this was temporary insanity. He found none. You're serious, completely. You'll resent it eventually, the downsizing, the change. Or I'll finally be happy. He wanted to believe her, wanted it so badly it hurt. What about the company? He asked. I'll hire a CEO, stay on the board but step back from day-to-day operations. I built Vail Industries. I can rebuild myself too. That's a huge risk. So is loving someone. But I'm doing it anyway. Mark closed his eyes, tried to think past the fear, past the voice in his head screaming that this wouldn't work, couldn't work. I'm terrified, he admitted. Me too. What if we fail? What if we don't? He opened his eyes, looked at her, really looked. She was standing there, vulnerable and certain, offering him everything. All he had to do was be brave enough to take it. Okay, he said. Okay? Okay. Let's try. Really try. No more pulling away when things get hard. No more running. Adriana's smile was blinding. Really? Really? She kissed him, right there in her empty, expensive penthouse. Kissed him like he was the answer to a question she'd been asking her whole life. When they pulled apart, Mia was standing across the room, grinning. Finally, she said. They both laughed, and for the first time in weeks, Mark felt something like hope. The first week was chaos. The Herald ran their story anyway, front page exactly as threatened. Billionaire CEO's secret romance with single father, accompanied by photos of them at the cafe, at the park, leaving Mark's apartment building. Mia's face was blurred, but barely. You could still see her purple coat, her wild curls. Other outlets picked it up. Cable news ran segments. Opinion pieces appeared online debating whether Adriana was slumming it or Mark was a gold digger. The comment sections were brutal. Mark made the mistake of reading them once. Never again. Adriana's lawyers sent cease and desist letters to 14 different publications. 3 ignored them. Those got sued. The rest backed off, but the damage was done. Their relationship was public knowledge now. Fair game. Mark couldn't go to the grocery store without someone recognizing him. Couldn't pick Mia up from school without parents whispering. His phone rang constantly. Reporters, old acquaintances crawling out of the woodwork, people wanting money or interviews or just to tell him what they thought about his life choices. He changed his number, twice. Mia handled it better than he did. She drew pictures of reporters as monsters and taped them to her wall, made up songs about cameras, treated the whole thing like an adventure instead of an invasion. They're just curious, she said when Mark complained about a photographer following them to the library. They're vultures. What's a vulture? A bird that eats dead things. That's gross, Daddy. Yeah, well, that's what they are. But even the vultures got bored eventually. By the second week, the story had moved from front page to occasional gossip column mention. By the third week, it barely registered. Life started returning to something resembling normal. Or a new version of normal, anyway. Adriana kept her promise. She hired a new CEO for Vail Industries, some hotshot from a competitor who'd been trying to poach her talent for years. Announced she was stepping back to an advisory role, staying on the board but leaving day-to-day operations to someone else. The business world lost its mind. Stock prices fluctuated. Analysts wrote think pieces about women leaving powerful positions. Adriana ignored all of it. I built that company once. she told Mark. If it falls apart without me, it deserved to. But it won't. I hired good people. They'll be fine. She sold the penthouse, listed it on a Tuesday, had 3 offers by Friday, closed within a month. Mark didn't ask how much she got for it. Didn't want to know. Instead of buying something new immediately, she moved into a furnished rental. Nothing fancy. 2 bedrooms, normal building, actual neighbors who weren't celebrities or hedge fund managers. It was temporary while she figured out what came next. I want to find a place near you and Mia, she said, so we're close. So I can be part of your daily life, not just the Tuesday and Friday version. They were at the cafe when she said it. Their booth. Their terrible coffee. Mia was coloring at the end of the table. You don't have to do that, Mark said. I want to. What if things don't work out? Then I'll have an apartment near people I care about. Worst case scenario. Mark looked at her. She'd changed in the past month, dressed more casually now, jeans and sweaters instead of designer suits. Less makeup. Hair down more often than up. She looked younger, lighter. You seem different, he said. Different good or different bad? Different good. Less, I don't know. Less like you're holding yourself together with duct tape and sheer force of will. Adriana laughed. That's exactly what I was doing. For years. It's exhausting. So what are you doing now? Figuring out who I am when I'm not a CEO. It's harder than I thought. How so? She stirred her coffee, thinking. I've been Adriana Vale, businesswoman, for so long I forgot there might be other versions. Adriana who sleeps past 6 a.m. Adriana who reads for pleasure instead of profit. Adriana who... She glanced at Mia. Adriana who might want to be someone's mom someday. Mark's heart stuttered. Adriana, I know it's too soon to talk about that. I'm not asking for anything. I'm just thinking out loud. Mia already thinks of you that way. You know that, right? I hoped, but I didn't want to assume. She calls you her almost mom to her friends. Her teacher told me last week. Adriana's eyes went bright. Really? Really? And that doesn't freak you out? Terrifies me. But in a good way, I think. They sat in comfortable silence. Barb refilled their coffee without comment. She'd been weird after the news broke, standoffish, like she didn't know how to act around them anymore. But lately she'd softened, started treating them normally again. You know what's funny, Adriana said. I used to come to places like this and feel superior, like I'd moved beyond cheap diners and bad coffee, like I'd evolved past needing simple things. And now? Now I realize I had it backward. She gestured around the cafe. This is what matters. Not boardrooms or penthouses, just people existing together, sharing space, being human. You're getting philosophical on me. Sorry, happens when I'm not working 16-hour days. Don't apologize, I like it. Mia looked up from her coloring. Are you guys going to get married? Mark choked on his coffee. Adriana turned bright red. Mia, what? I'm just asking. That's not... We haven't... Tyler's mom said you probably would. She said Adriana's rich, so you'd be stupid not to marry her. Mark's jaw clenched. Tyler's mom needs to mind her own business. So you're not getting married. We're not talking about this right now. But eventually. Mia, eventually maybe, Adriana interrupted quietly. They both looked at her. I mean, if Mark wanted to, someday. There's no rush, but yeah. Eventually, maybe. Mia beamed. Good. Because I want you to be my real mom, not just my almost mom. Mark opened his mouth, closed it, had no idea what to say. Adriana was crying, happy tears streaming down her face while she smiled at Mia. I would be honored to be your real mom, she said, if your dad's okay with it. And if we do things the right way, slow and careful. Slow is boring, Mia declared. Slow is smart, Mark corrected, and we're doing this smart. Fine, but not too slow, okay? No promises. But as he watched Adriana wipe her eyes and Mia go back to coloring, satisfied with the answer, Mark thought maybe slow wasn't the worst thing. Maybe they had time. Maybe they could build this right. 2 months after the press conference, Adriana found a house. Not an apartment. A house. 3 bedrooms, small yard, 20 minutes from Mark's place. The kind of house families lived in, the kind with a front porch and a driveway and neighbors who borrowed sugar. She took Mark and Mia to see it on a Sunday. It needs work, she warned as they pulled up. The inspector found issues with the roof and the kitchens from 1987, but it has good bones. The house was modest. Nothing like the penthouse. Nothing like what Mark imagined a billionaire would buy. It was perfect. They walked through together. Mia claimed the smallest bedroom immediately, declaring it her room, even though Adriana explained she didn't live there. This was Adriana's house. But I could stay over sometimes, right? Of course. Then it's my room when I'm here. Hard to argue with that logic. Mark found Adriana in the kitchen, staring at outdated appliances with a thoughtful expression. "This is really what you want?" he asked. "Yes." "You could buy something nicer, something that doesn't need a new roof." "I don't want nicer. I want this. A house where Mia can stay over, where you can come for dinner, where we can—" She paused. "Where we can build something." "You're really doing this, the whole domestic thing. I'm really doing this." Mark leaned against the counter. "You know it's not always great, right? Houses need maintenance. Things break. It's expensive and frustrating and I can't wait," Adriana interrupted. "I can't wait to deal with a leaky faucet or a broken dishwasher or whatever normal problems normal people have. I've had 15 years of problems that required lawyers and PR teams and hostile negotiations. Give me a leaky faucet any day." "You say that now. I'll say it then too." From the other room, Mia called, "Adriana, does this house have a backyard?" "It does. Small one." "Can we get a dog?" Mark and Adriana looked at each other. "Don't look at me," Mark said. "This is your house." "Our house," Adriana corrected. "Eventually, if you want it to be." "Adriana, I'm not proposing, I'm just putting it out there. That this could be a place for all of us, someday, when you're ready." Mark's throat went tight. "You want us to move in with you. Not now. Not yet. But maybe. In a year or two. If things keep going well. If Mia's comfortable. If you—" She looked at him. "If you can see a future where we're a family. An actual family. A family." The word echoed in his head. He'd had a family once. Him and Sarah and baby Mia. It had fallen apart, shattered so completely he'd thought he'd never risk it again. But here was Adriana offering him another chance, offering Mia a mother, offering them both stability and love and a house with a backyard where they could get a dog. "I can see it," he said quietly. "I'm scared of it, but I can see it." Adriana smiled. "Scared is okay. I'm scared too." "Of what?" "Of messing this up, of not being a good enough mom to Mia, of you waking up one day and realizing you settled." Settled? For a billionaire? CEO? For someone who doesn't know how to cook or do laundry or any of the normal things you're supposed to know. "I'll teach you. I'm a terrible student, then we'll eat a lot of takeout." She laughed, kissed him. Right there in the outdated kitchen that would be hers in a few weeks. Mia appeared in the doorway. "Are you guys being gross?" "Little bit," Mark admitted. "Can we still get a dog?" "We'll think about it," Adriana said. "That means yes, right?" "That means we'll think about it." Mia ran off, already planning what kind of dog she wanted. Mark pulled Adriana closer. "You know she's going to hold you to that, right?" "I know, and honestly, I kind of want a dog too." "You've never had a dog." "Exactly. I've never had a lot of things, a house, a family, a life outside work. I'm collecting experiences now." "Is that what we are? An experience?" "You're everything," she said simply. "You and Mia. You're everything I didn't know I needed." The next few months passed in a blur of normalcy that felt extraordinary precisely because it was normal. Adriana closed on the house, hired contractors to fix the roof and update the kitchen, let Mia pick paint colors for her room, bought furniture that looked comfortable instead of expensive. She learned to cook. Sort of. Her first attempt at spaghetti resulted in a fire alarm and a ruined pot. Her second attempt was edible. By the fifth, she'd figured out the basics. Mark helped with repairs around the house, fixed the leaky faucet she'd joked about, installed new light fixtures, taught her how to use a drill, which resulted in several holes in walls that weren't supposed to have holes. They laughed about it. That was the best part. They could laugh. Mia stayed over most weekends, had her own toothbrush in Adriana's bathroom, her own drawer in the dresser, started calling it our house instead of Adriana's house. Mark didn't correct her. He stayed over too sometimes. Started keeping a change of clothes in Adriana's closet. Woke up some mornings in a bed that wasn't his, next to a woman who loved him and felt something close to peace. The press lost interest. A few tabloids ran occasional updates. Where are they now pieces that painted them as a fairy tale. But mostly they were left alone. Just another couple trying to make it work. Mark's life changed in small ways. Adriana insisted on paying off his debts, which he fought against until she pointed out that his pride was costing him hundreds in interest every month. She hired him to do maintenance on her rental properties, which gave him steadier income and benefits. Not charity. Work. Fair pay for fair work. It helped. He could breathe easier. Could afford decent clothes for Mia. Could fix the check engine light that had been on for 2 years. But the biggest change was internal. He stopped waiting for everything to fall apart. Stopped bracing for Adriana to leave or realize her mistake. Started believing this might actually last. They went to therapy. Couples counseling, because Adriana insisted that if they were going to do this right, they needed help navigating the complexities. The therapist asked hard questions about Sarah, about trust, about the power dynamics inherent in their relationship, about what happened when love wasn't enough. Love is never enough, the therapist said during one session. Love is the foundation, but you need communication, respect, shared values, willingness to grow. You need to choose each other every day, not just once. I choose them, Adriana said. Every day. Easy choice. And you? The therapist looked at Mark. I'm choosing, he said. Some days it's harder than others, but I'm choosing. Why is it hard? Because I'm still afraid that this is temporary, that I'm not enough. Enough for what? For her. For this life. Adriana reached for his hand. You're enough. You've always been enough. You say that now? I'll say it always. The therapist watched them. Mark, what would it take for you to believe that? He thought about it, really thought. Time, he said finally. Just time. Proof that we can make it through hard things together. Fair enough, the therapist said. So let's work on building that trust. They did. Week by week, session by session. It wasn't smooth. There were arguments about money, about parenting styles, about Adriana's tendency to solve problems by throwing resources at them. Not everything can be fixed with money, Mark said during one fight. I know that, but why struggle when I can help? Because struggle is part of life. You can't just bulldoze through everything. I'm not trying to bulldoze. I'm trying to make things easier. Easier isn't always better. They fought about his pride, her guilt, the ways their different backgrounds colored every interaction. But they also learned, compromised, found middle ground. Adriana stopped trying to fix everything. Mark stopped refusing all help. They met somewhere in between. 6 months after Adriana bought the house, she sat Mark and Mia down in their living room. I want to talk to you both about something, she said. Mia looked up from her homework. Mark set down his coffee. Okay, he said cautiously. Adriana took a breath. I want to adopt Mia, legally, if that's something you both want. Silence. Mia's eyes went huge. Really? Really? I want to be your mom. Not just the person who helps with homework and takes you to the park. Your actual mom. Legally, officially, forever. What about my other mom? The question was complicated. Sarah had never officially terminated her parental rights, had never been involved enough to need to. We'd have to contact her, Mark said. Ask her to sign off. And if she says no, then we figure something else out. But I don't think she'll say no, baby. She's been gone for 3 years. I don't think she wants to be your mom anymore. It hurt to say. Hurt worse, knowing it was true. Mia looked at Adriana. If you adopt me, you can't leave. You know that, right? Moms aren't allowed to leave. Adriana's voice cracked. I'm not going anywhere. I promise. Promises can break. Not this one. Mia studied her face. Whatever she saw, there must have been enough because she launched herself at Adriana, wrapping her arms around her neck. Okay? Yes. I want you to be my mom. Adriana held her tight, crying into Mia's hair. Mark watched them, his chest so full it hurt. What do you think? Adriana asked, looking at him over Mia's head. I think... His voice broke. I think it's the best idea you've ever had. They contacted Sarah through her last known address. Got a response 2 weeks later. A single page, signed and notarized, terminating her parental rights. No explanation, no apology, just a signature. Mark stared at it for a long time, feeling nothing. Sarah had made her choice years ago. This was just paperwork. You okay? Adriana asked. Yeah, this doesn't change anything. She's been gone. Now it's just official. I'm sorry. Don't be. It's good. It means we can move forward. The adoption process took months. Background checks, home visits, interviews with social workers. They scrutinized everything. Adriana's wealth, Mark's financial history, their relationship timeline. But in the end, the judge approved it. They stood in a courtroom on a Tuesday morning, fitting somehow, and listened as the judge declared Adriana legally Mia's mother. Mia wore her purple sparkly dress. Adriana wore jeans and a sweater. Mark wore his least wrinkled shirt. Congratulations, the judge said. You're officially a family. A family. They celebrated at the cafe. Their booth, their terrible coffee, pancakes with chocolate chips. Barb brought out a cake she'd bought herself. On the house, she said gruffly. Don't make a big thing out of it. They ate cake and laughed, and Mia talked nonstop about having a real mom, a forever mom. A mom who couldn't leave even if she wanted to. Mark watched Adriana listen to his daughter, their daughter, with absolute attention. Watched her wipe chocolate off Mia's face. Watched her be exactly what Mia needed. Thank you, he said quietly. For what? For being brave enough to want this. To choose us. I should be thanking you. For letting me in, for trusting me with her. With both of us, Mark corrected. Adriana smiled. With both of you. That night, after Mia was asleep in her room at Adriana's house, Mark and Adriana sat on the back porch. I've been thinking, Adriana said. Dangerous. I want you to move in, officially. Not just keeping clothes in my closet. Actually, move in. You and Mia. Make this your home too. Mark had been expecting this. Had been thinking about it himself. What about my apartment? Sublet it, or we keep it as backup. I don't care. I want us to be a real family. Under one roof. Mia would love that. And you? Mark looked at the house. At the yard where they'd eventually get the dog Mia kept asking about. At the life they were building together. Yeah, he said. I'd love that too. Really? Really? But what? He pulled a small box from his pocket, opened it. A ring, simple, nothing flashy, the kind that cost 3 months of careful saving. Adriana stared at it. I know you probably have opinions about proposals, Mark said, about how they should be romantic or dramatic or whatever. And I know this isn't much, but I needed to ask properly. Not because of money or houses or any of that, just because I love you, and I want to spend the rest of my life proving it. Adriana was crying. Mark, will you marry me? Yes. Yes. Obviously, yes. He slid the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. She kissed him, long and deep and full of promise. I was going to propose to you, she admitted when they pulled apart. What? I had a ring picked out. Bought it 2 weeks ago. Was planning this whole thing. You were? I was. But I like this better. You asking. It feels right. What were you going to say when you proposed? Probably something stupid about quarterly projections and long-term investments. Mark laughed. That would have been terrible. I know. That's why you going first worked out better. They sat together, her hand in his, the ring catching the porch light. We're really doing this, she said. Getting married. Being a family. Yeah, we are. I'm terrified. Me too. But good terrified? The best kind. They got married 3 months later. Small ceremony, just close friends and Mia. No press, no photographers, no circus. The cafe owner let them use the space. Barb insisted, actually. Closed down for an afternoon and helped them decorate. Streamers and flowers, and the same crooked banner from Mia's birthday party. Mia was the flower girl and the ring bearer, insisting she could do both jobs. She wore her purple sparkly dress and took her duties seriously, walking down the aisle with exaggerated care. Mark stood at the front and watched Adriana walk toward him. She wore a simple white dress, nothing designer or expensive. Hair down, minimal makeup, looking exactly like herself. The ceremony was short. They'd written their own vows. Adriana went first. "I didn't believe in love," she said. "Not really. I thought it was something people said when they meant compatibility or convenience. But then I met you and Mia, and you showed me that love is actually pretty simple. It's showing up. It's choosing someone every day. It's pancakes on Tuesday and homework help and staying even when things get hard. I choose you, both of you, today and every day after." Mark's turn. "I spent a long time thinking I wasn't enough, that my life was too small, too limited, too broken. You taught me that enough is subjective, that a small life lived with people you love is bigger than any empire. You didn't save me. I don't need saving, but you did remind me that I'm allowed to want more, to hope for more, to build something beautiful even when I'm scared. I love you. I'll keep loving you. That's my promise." They exchanged rings, kissed, became officially, legally, permanently a family. The reception was exactly what they'd wanted. Cheap wine, grocery store cake, music from someone's phone speaker, dancing in the cafe where it all started. Mark danced with Mia first, spun her around until she shrieked with laughter, then with Adriana. Slow and close, her head on his shoulder. "We did it," she whispered. "Yeah, we did." "Any regrets?" "Not a single one." "Liar. You regret the burgundy tie I made you wear." "Okay, one regret. The tie is terrible." She laughed. "I'll buy you a better one." "With what money?" "Oh, I still have some laying around." They swayed together, surrounded by the few people who mattered. Mia was teaching Barb some complicated hand-clapping game. Friends were drinking cheap wine and eating cake. It wasn't glamorous. Wasn't the kind of wedding Adriana could have had if she'd wanted. No ice sculptures or string quartets or venues that cost more than cars. But it was theirs, real and messy and perfect. A year later, Mark stood in the backyard of their house, watching Mia play with the dog they'd finally gotten. A mutt from the shelter, all enthusiasm and zero training. Adriana came up behind him, wrapping her arms around his waist. "Happy?" she asked. "Yeah, you?" Deliriously, the dog knocked Mia over. She laughed and wrestled with him in the grass. "You know what I was thinking about?" Adriana said. "What?" "That day at the cafe. When Mia asked if I was okay. If she hadn't done that, if you hadn't let her, none of this would have happened." "Scared to think about it." "Me too." She paused. "I was planning to quit. Did I ever tell you that?" "Quit what?" "Everything. That day, the day I got stood up, I was planning to resign. Walk away from the company, from the city, from all of it. I couldn't see a future that didn't feel empty. And then a 6-year-old asked if I was okay, and I realized maybe the future I wanted wasn't the one I'd been building. Maybe it was something else entirely." Mark turned to face her. "Do you ever miss it? The company, the power, all that?" "Honestly? No, I thought I would, but I don't. I miss the challenge sometimes, the satisfaction of closing a deal, but not enough to go back." "What do you do all day now, besides domestic stuff?" "I'm consulting, helping small businesses get off the ground, pro bono mostly. I don't know, it feels meaningful, like I'm actually helping people instead of just making money." "That's good." "It's weird, but good weird." She kissed him. "What about you? Any regrets about marrying a reformed workaholic billionaire?" "Just the one about the burgundy tie." "I bought you a new one." "I know, it's hideous too." "You love it." "I really don't." She laughed. Mia called them over to watch the dog do a trick he absolutely hadn't learned yet. They walked across the yard together, hand in hand, a family. And Mark thought about how none of this made sense on paper. The single dad and the CEO, the struggling mechanic and the billionaire, the gap between their worlds that should have been insurmountable. But love didn't care about gaps. It built bridges instead. And maybe that was the point. Maybe the best things in life were the ones that didn't make sense until you were living them. The moments of grace that appeared when you were brave enough to show up, to be seen, to let someone else in. Mia ran over and grabbed both their hands. Come play with us. They let themselves be pulled into the chaos, the dog, the grass, the laughter, the ordinary, extraordinary life they'd built together. One choice at a time, one day at a time, one pancake breakfast at a time. And it was enough. More than enough. It was everything.